Good evening, good evening, good evening. How the devil are we all? How are you, Damien?
I'm very well. How are you,
I,
Stephen?
I'm all right, mate. I'm going to let you do a little bit of an intro because I'm a little bit half asleep. Don't know what's going on.
He's a little bit half asleep, like
Li-
25% asleep.
yeah, just
Okay. Love it. Well, thanks for chucking that one over to me.
it's all
Hello,
right, mate.
everyone. I hope you're doing well. If some kind chap or chapette in the chat could let us know that they can hear us, that would be great. I can see, on my reckoning, there's 26 people watching at the moment. We've gone live at 9:01. I think people will be disappointed by that.
The question
It's a
is,
bit early.
are they 26 of the best people?
I think they're 26 of my favourite Canadians.
Mm.
I do include
Oh,
Brian
let's not
Anderson.
mention Canada.
Sound works, video works from Frederick and Jill. Excellent. Well, welcome, my cherubs, to Battle
Welcome,
Streets of
everybody.
Middle Earth. This is, of course, our fortnightly stream in which we normally take a retrospective wander through the wonders of the Extini Parkwork battle games in Middle Earth. And we kind of look back on it and we look through the issues and we kind of have a bit of a chat and a kind of a big old love-in for a few hours on every 2 weeks on one of the weekend nights. So that's not what we do, and we try to encourage you to clear your backlogs, to kind of paint along with us. Backjobs is something else. So it begins. It's 9 o'clock, Steve. Keep it clear. But yeah, there's normally a kind of theme given to us by the issue of the week, but that's not the case this time. That's not the case.
No.
Because we're not doing an issue this
No.
week. Steve.
Yeah.
What are we doing?
Well, it's a very special episode because...
It is.
Oh, where's that gone? It's an end of binder special.
That's not.
I don't know what's going on, mate.
Is that for real? Is that a real thing?
Yeah.
That's not
It's
it's
the Two Towers special. It's the Two Towers special.
Oh, we just started New Binder, Steve. We're like an issue into it.
That's it. It's Two Towers special.
Fresh. It is. Because the Two Towers is 20 years old.
That's what I meant.
That is what you meant.
That's what I meant.
I'm sure that's what you meant. 20 years old. So I believe it came out in the sort of middle of December. But we of course have our Christmas stream to come. We did this last year for the Fellowship of the Ring. So we're going to have a retrospective about the Two Towers. Now, to be clear, for the moment at least, yeah, it is good to be clear. In terms of tonight, we're talking about this. We're talking about the Two Towers game, SBG, GW's game of it, because I reckon. It depends what happens, but we're starting a bit later than normal, and because it's Sunday, we tend to finish a little earlier than normal. So I'm not actually sure we're going to be having too much chatter about the film, but that can be a great topic for our Christmas stream, I think. To have like a little chat about the film itself. But we'll see how the night goes, of course. But this is going to be our primary discussion topic. This book, and you can see it's been deep doven. And the kind of releases of the Two Towers, we're going to be reflecting on that and having a big nostalgic chinwag about that kind of time. So that's what you can look forward to. So of course we need a theme, and the theme is any model that was released for that. Now there's tons of them. There's tons and tons and tons of them. But GW did as I'll go through. They did do a handy list. So I'm just going to run down this super quick. If you're in any doubt, chuck stuff into the comments and the chat to see what's eligible. But you could be painting Riders of Rohan, Fighting Uruk-hai, the Heroes of Helm's Deep, Grima Wormtongue, Mounted Aemma, Merry Pippin and Grishnak, Haldir's Elves with Bows, Haldir's Elves with Swords, the Warg Attack set, Gandalf on Shadowfax, individual Warg Riders, the Two Towers Salman, which is one holding the staff, the two-handed on top of Orthanc, Uruk Siege Troop, Warriors of Rohan. You could be doing something to that Helm's Deep scenery set. The Uruk Siege Ballista, the Uruk Battering Ram, Uruk Crossbows, Uruk Berserkers, Uruk Command, Gollum, Sam and Frodo. That's the Emin Mule ones. Gandalf the White, that's the one on rock with your staff up. The original Treebeard, the Captured by Gondor set with Frodo and Sam sitting down. Faramir's Rangers from that set. Wild Men of Dunlending, who remembered they came out this early. A Rohan Royal Standard, which I think is Gamling. Legacy and Gimli on horseback, and Rohan Royal Guard on foot, and Rohan Royal Guard on mounted. Now that was the first bunch of releases, and there was obviously tons of them. There's a few more that kind of sneak out, such as the original Metal Fell Beast and stuff. But that kind of hopefully gives you a starting point for
Yeah.
sort of things. Now, if you are painting any of those tonight,
well done.
Oh, we haven't set the dice up. Obviously, do you want to do your whip stuff? So,
if it's worked, which is always a help. So yeah, there should be on the Great British Hobbit League. Let me go and check before I start talking about it. It's so organised tonight, so professional.
That's what we're famous for: organisation, professionalism,
skills to pay the bills.
That's the difference between me and you.
It's only there, isn't it? Yeah. So if you go over to the Great British Hobbit League, there is a thread that is titled "This is the Whip Thread" in block capitals with an exclamation mark after it. It's written by myself. There's already 8 comments on there, and there's a link to this very stream that you're watching, so you can't really miss it. We want to see whatever you're working on tonight. Post it in there, regardless of what it is. But if you are on theme, as Damien just explained, you will be entered into a prize draw to win a money can't buy prize.
Can't see my camera, mate.
Oh,
got it.
Whoop, whoop.
I've changed to it and it appears to have done nothing.
No, it's done nothing, mate.
Okay.
Oh, you're on go slow, aren't you? You're on a go slow.
That's not quite right.
You didn't do the turn it off and start it again before you stream, did you? You didn't clear your cache. I'm just saying things now that I've heard on YouTube.
All that happened is we didn't set the camera up. So that's what's happened. As well, you know.
Whenever I can't make things work on my computer, I go online and they talk about caches and stuff.
It's the cache. It must be the cache.
It's
I didn't put the camera in the wrong place. No, it's the cache, mate.
It's the cache, mate.
How's that looking on the YouTube?
It's sweet as a nut, that, mate.
Lovely. So, of course, these are our patron dice. And you can't win one of those tonight. No. What you can win is this bad boy.
Oh, breathe. It's the Two Towers special. It doesn't get any more central. It doesn't get any higher than that.
Absolutely. Look at that.
Don't send them that one. Mate. Keep that one.
Yeah, keep that. Is there somewhere we could loop this bit of footage like every other week?
If you'd done it at multiple angles, we could have rigged it.
So there we go. It is one of our black Battle Streams of Middle Earth dice. You will win this very dice tonight. A few people have messaged actually this week, just saying, as you know, is the dice all right? Have I missed it? Have I lost it? But I've got a few weeks backlog, so apologies for that. They will get out to you. But yes, indeed. So if you're working on anything from the Two Towers, now I do have one caveat, and I'm not going to ask Steve's opinion because I did it before, and he'll claim that it never happened, and he would probably say something drunk anyway. But it's just the sort of stuff I mentioned there. It's stuff from the Two Towers that appears in the Two Towers film that was released in that year. It is not anything that was released for Shadow and Flame. No. So that very same year, I've got it here actually. Between the Two Towers and Return of the King, we got this Shadow and Flame, which is the first ever supplement for the strategy battle game. And so this had a whole wealth of models released for it, dwarfs and goblins and a really weird bunch of other stuff. But none of that is eligible, even though it was sold in Two Towers packaging. Okay. In the fullness of time, all being well, we will get to this, but not that it is not this day. So it has to be basically a model from that original release in the Two Towers packaging from basically very, very late 2002 to very, very sort of mid 2003, basically. That was a model that appears in the Two Towers, essentially, and that gets you into the draw. But of course, we want to hear from you, whatever you're working on.
Yeah.
So absolutely, whatever you're working on, get a picture of it over in that whip thread. Show us your snacks. They might be starting to get a little festive. Show us your drinks. I hope so. First day of Advent today. Lit the Advent wreath, mate. Put the lights up for Mum and Dad in the garden. Had a very festive day.
Still November.
Well, exactly, but you know, I think I'll allow it.
I've had to put my foot down in our house. All the girls, which is everyone else who lives in the house, I've been going mad about getting the decks up, being Christmassy, watching Christmas movies. I'm like, hell to the no, it's November. It's not happening. Well,
for me, Emma was like, should we put the decorations up? And I was like, it's like you think I'm ready for throwing skulls. So we have firstly, the dining room table is busy. Secondly, what time do you think we have? We will talk about that next week. Thank you very much. You go out and buy a Christmas tree some night this week? No. That board won't paint itself.
Yeah. If you stick that flock on, I'll go and get the tree.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, wait, you're doing it wrong. But yeah. So yes. So do
you even flock, bro?
Do you even flock, wife? And she'll say no. Like, yeah, you're quite right. So there we go. That is what we're up to, and I can't wait. Two Towers is very, very popular. I mean, they're all popular, aren't they? But
yeah,
I think there's a lot of love for the Two Towers, and so I can't wait to see people getting stuck into a bunch of cool retro Two Towersy models. Speaking of which, Steve,
yeah,
what are you working on?
So I've gone in my because I mean we spoke about it numerous times on the stream, and I painted some Urukai warriors on the stream.
Yeah.
I have a vast Isengard army which I started to build at the beginning of lockdown because it was my slow grow army, which was for the local community element games, and I just throughout lockdown I ended up building it and painting it and got loads of it. But I've got more scouts than armored warriors because I always liked the scout models better.
Yeah,
and I do feel that if I ever wanted to take an Isengard army competitively, I think I need some more armored Uruks than what I've got. So I've just gone in my Isengard box, which has got all sorts of stuff in there, but I've just got a load of these. Were off a eBay lot.
Oh my god, you're doing... I swear to God, I thought that was going to be. So I haven't decided that. I'm working on my fiefdom.
Well, there's no point now, is there? Which we'll come to later.
I never dared dream you'd be on topic, clearing the backlog. It's amazing.
So I've dug out these were of an eBay lot from many moons ago.
Wonderful.
So I'm tidying them all up. I'm going to give them all a very thin coat of lead belcher just to get them all silver, because that's how I painted my previous ones on the stream very long time ago, starting from scratch. And I'm just gonna sit here, paint like Damien's mentioned. It's a bit of an odd one because it's a Sunday night. It's not a long stream, but my plan is to start these tonight, and then I'm going to put them to one side. And over Christmas, I've made a sort of little promise to myself that I'm going to get some hobby in, and I'm going to finish these over Christmas when I eventually finish work, which I thought would have been this coming week, but it wasn't. So I'm on topic, mate. What about you?
That is lovely, mate. That is hashtag so BSIME. You love to see it. I think everything about that, the fact you're on topic, the fact it's from an old lot that have been sat around for years, wonderful things. It's better than me. So I've also had a very successful BSIME Isengard life, and I've cleared every Uruk from my backlog, every Isengard Uruk. I don't have any painted. I painted some up on the stream years ago and stuff. Same with Rohan. I don't have any unpainted sort of plastic riders of Rohan. I bet you I could find one of those models somewhere. I think I don't. That Saruman I've got and I've never painted, so I could dig them out. But I'm going to have to use one of our path cards for this week, because I know this is a raw topic for you, but Throne of Skulls is a week away. It will be over in a week. That's so depressing and terrifying. But Throne of Skulls will be over in a week, and I am not ready for it. So there's a little. This is too invasive in terms of getting out of schedule and jumping into how have you been. But a lot of you have seen I've just put a new hobby vlog up. I think maybe 2 have gone up.
I've not. By the way, I've not watched any of those yet. It's not because I'm rude. There's 2 reasons. One of them is I'm a little bit rude. The second, not really. The first reason is I've just been so busy with work, and the second reason is, like I said, I've made a promise to myself. Whilst I'm off over Christmas, I'm going to be doing a little bit of hobby, and those are going to be on whilst I'm hobbying over Christmas.
Oh, I'm your juicy festive watching.
Yeah, you're my
man. Thank you.
My bit of blue over Christmas.
Well, the last 2 I've done were about finishing the army, so I will keep it spoiler free for you.
Yep.
The army is finished. The models are painted, which is cool, but the display board, the objective markers, and the bases are not finished. As of right now, this is, and I don't think it's particularly spoilery because I don't mind saying it. I don't have my bases.
Ooh.
All right, they're on Sunday night with 4.5. What is that? 4.5 days before I need to leave. I don't have my bases.
If only we knew someone who made bases.
Yeah, but I fear the postal structs have undone me.
Yes. Tell me about it.
And so that's.
He'll talk to me about
post. About that. So tonight I am working, and some of this, it depends on how much I forget I'm kind of on the internet, but some of this will be a bit spoilerific for the next vlog because I haven't revealed quite exactly the extent to what I'm working on. But I'm working on the objective markers for my army tonight.
Okay.
Because I just couldn't spare the evening, much as I would love to go and paint something fun from the Two Towers. If I had to, I'll play along. If I had to dig something out, I do think I might have gone for a Saruman. I might have gone for that Saruman because he's a great model that I've never painted.
Right.
So there we go. Steve's on topic. I love to see it. Me, not so much. What about snacks, Steve? Do you want to talk us through stuff?
Yeah, so snacks again. It was very last minute. My daughter's had a athletics meet today, which is kind of an all-day thing. And we rushed back, had to have dinner. So I had to nip into the little Sainsbury's Local, are they called? The small ones? It's Sainsbury's Local.
I can never remember the different chain ones. It could be like
so snacks-wise, I already had one of these.
Knoppers!
And then I've got some honey roast peanuts as my snack. I knew I only had one bottle of Moretti in, so I picked up another couple of bottles. It is a school night, so I'm not planning on drinking 3 bottles of beer before I have to be up early. But I've got these 2. And then check this out. I didn't even realise it. I knew I had one in the fridge. You ever seen a bottle like that?
Oh, what, a stubby?
A little fat thing.
I'm not too up on like Moretti shapes, so
I don't even know where I got that from, but it was in the fridge anyway. Could have been there for years for all I know. So yeah, so that's my snacks. I've got a Knoppers, honey roast peanuts, and some Morettis, and obviously a cup of char in a Battle Streams mug.
Lovely, lovely, lovely.
There you go. What about yourself?
So I got a good one for tonight.
All right.
I've got the obligatory. I've actually got 2 cups of tea on the go. So I'll show off
2 cups of tea.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Show off the old Battle Streams and tea one. And I prepared myself a small platter with a tinge of festivities. So I've got Ferrero Rocher.
Oh, it's a solid Christmas snack.
With the stream, I'm really spoiling us. I've got a GBHL Classic.
Little froggy. Of course.
And most excitingly of all, I've got a slice of
Stollen.
Which is just never eat it any other time of year, and then it comes around at Christmas, you're like, this is amazing.
I'm not a big fan of Stollen.
You're incorrect
there. I can eat it. I'm just not big.
Anna
loves it. Anna loves it. But I'm like,
she's smart. It's so good.
It's like you say though, you never see it when it's not Christmas, do you?
It's not pancakes when it's not pancake day. Every single pancake day. These are amazing. We should make these once a month. Anyway, a year later.
For breakfast.
But I do have a beer with me.
Nice.
It's a beer we've never had on the stream before. Yeah, I knew you'd be excited. And it's a beer that's incredibly topical for the stream.
Corona?
Nope.
Budweiser?
Nope.
Oh, you had Budweiser.
Once or twice.
I was going to say that was topical because, well, not for the stream, but it was topical because of the alcohol ban at the World Cup that was sponsored by Budweiser. Go on, I give up.
You'll be able to get it. I promise. You'll kick yourself if you don't. What's our streams about? Nominally.
Is it that fancy IPA? Yeah, boy.
I have a can of the Lord of the Rings Brewdog Fellowship Pale Ale.
Do you like pale ale?
I don't like pale ale. I don't like Brewdog. I've never really been into Lord of the Rings, and I hate drinking out of can. So I think I'm going to despise this. But one of my wife's colleagues gave her 2. And went, Damien likes Lord of the Rings, doesn't he? So I'm gonna do this because I thought we should try this on the stream. We drink, on the stream, and there's Lord of the Rings beer. So, your good health, sir.
Yeah, good health.
Looks foamy. smells really bad. I don't like it. I don't want to tell you.
I'll comment after you've tasted it.
It's all right.
I dislike it.
Have you tried it?
Yeah.
Quite fruity.
There's something about IPA that I just can't get along with. I don't know what it is.
It's not nice. It's not enjoyable.
No.
I think it's more enjoyable than I thought it would be.
Right. Well, that's
so anyway, Lord of the Rings beer.
Yeah.
What's not to like?
It's nice to have the cans. You can put the can on your shelf.
Or in the bin.
Yeah.
Not the bin, in the recycling.
Yeah.
Be responsible, kids. Open the can, pour it down the drain, and then put the can in the recycling.
Yeah. Yeah, I got it. I went mad to try to find it in the. I think it's only Tesco's that have it, don't they? I went to I think it's Tesco's.
I didn't go mad trying to find it. It got imported into my house.
I don't know why it was a surprise that I didn't like it. I think I thought, well, it's Lord of the Rings. Obviously, I'm going to like it, right? Because I don't like pale ale, and I drank it.
If someone punched you wearing a Lord of the Rings t-shirt, so I'll enjoy this.
I drank it. I don't know. I thought, oh yeah, I remember now. I don't like pale ale.
I don't like it.
So yeah, let us know in the chat, anyone who's drank it, what you thought of it. I know there's a lot of people.
As I understand it, it's not a very nice IPA. So even if you like IPA, it's not going to be great. But if you don't like IPA, it's not going to be the thing that turns you on to IPA.
No.
Pretty bad marketing. Pretty bad marketing. Lord of the
Rings beer.
We didn't do our little emotional message, I will say, that is, of course, the point of this, genuinely, we always say, of Battle Streams Middle-earth.
Hang on.
Okay.
What's the point?
The point of Battle Streams Middle-earth is to clear your backlog. So, as part of hanging out, the point is not to paint a Two Towers model because you need it, but just do it for the fun of it. Like Steve is. Yeah. Don't worry about any models you need.
No.
Just everyone's going to have something from that list lying around.
Yeah.
In there at some point, and just go and get it and clean it up. Just pause whatever project you're on, unless you're like me and you've got 4.5 days to finish the project you're on, and get stuck into just a really, really cool classic sculpt, just for the fun and the love of the hobby.
Just for the shiz and giggles.
Yeah, and as part of that, you might win a dice.
A cool dice that you can't buy anywhere.
Super cool dice.
You could be one of those guys at events where people go, "Wow, where'd you get that dice?"
People have been bringing them now. I've started seeing them. Using for priority rolls.
Great, isn't it? It's great.
When they're
so yeah, when did we last stream? I can't remember.
2 weeks ago. So, do you want to say hi to people and then catch up, or do you want to catch up now?
Let's catch up now because I'm just quickly getting this lead belcher on these dudes, and then I can leave them to dry whilst I jump in the chat.
Yeah, our last stream then was 2 weeks ago. It was my birthday weekend.
Oh yeah. It's a big one, wasn't it? 5-0.
It was the big 5-0. But yeah, so how have you been? Dread to ask.
I've been all right, mate. I've just busy, just work junk, which anyone who tunes in weekly will know. I've been complaining about work getting on my tits for the last 2 months because I've been sort of trying to get finished, all my contracts finished and all the snagging finished. I wanted to have the whole of December off, and it's just not worked out that way. And then that's had a couple of knock-on effects because things have run over, and it's not due to anything from my part. It's just like getting hold of stuff at the minute, like things coming with bits missing or things just not coming at all to site for jobs that I'm on. Customers are, getting a bit tetchy about it being so close to Christmas. So yeah, I have to work pretty much solid through. But I think I should finish around. I want to say probably the Wednesday, Thursday after Throne, something like that.
Right.
And then I'm done then till probably about the 2nd or 3rd week of Jan. So yeah, but the knock-on effect being, I had a Throne of Skulls ticket. Was very excited, as I always am, because like you, it's probably my favourite event of the year. And I can't go. I've got to work. I've got to put customers first. For me to go to an event at Warhammer World, generally I like to take the Friday off for travel on the Friday and take the Monday off just because by the time I get home on Sunday it's late and I'm absolutely shattered, and the thought of getting up at 5:30 in the morning to go to work is just grim. And I just can't do it. I literally can't do it. I've got to be a grown up about it and put work first. So
I'm sorry, man.
I had to get a refund for my ticket. So that gutted me. I think I'm over it now, though. I think I've just accepted it. I think when I was texting you the other day, I was fuming. Like, I didn't want to speak to anyone. So I was dead moody. I think I've accepted it now. It is what it is.
Sucks, though, mate.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, I was supposed to be on... Check how bad this is. I was supposed to be on one of the jobs that I need to finish this week. And the gear was supposed to come... I can't remember if it was Thursday or Friday, and it came, but all wrong size, frames wrong size. So they've had to be sent back, which means I've now got to wait. So now I've got this weird slot of this week. I've not got much on this week. I've had anything on because I can't do anything because I haven't got the materials. So I'm actually finally getting my own kitchen done. So all the stuff that you can't see, which is in my man cave, taking up space, I can't get to anything. There are kitchen units, cupboards, doors, all sorts of stuff there. I'll be doing that this week, so that'll get rid of that, which is nice.
Why can't you can kitchen? Didn't you get a new kitchen like 2 years ago?
It's the same kitchen. So I started it 2 years ago.
Why can't you can't kitchen?
It's the same kitchen. Basically, what happened was I started the kitchen 2 years ago, a week before Christmas.
on Christmas Eve or so.
No, it's a week before Christmas. Ripped my kitchen out, and I'd bought this massive cooker, big range cooker. Then realised I couldn't get it in. Couldn't get it round through the kitchen door, so I had to knock a wall down. This is a week before Christmas. Then I realised it wasn't going to go where the old cooker was, so I had to move all the services, which is basically move where the gas comes in, where the water comes in and goes out. It was a big job. It was basically
what the services were to a non-tradie there.
In about 5 days, we did probably what would have normally took about 3 weeks, and we smashed it. And
so you can work faster if you try.
If I tried, yeah.
It's good to
know. So I got it up to worktop level. So in my kitchen, it's up to the worktop is all new. So all the base units are all new, and then all of the wall units are my old kitchen. It still looks nice. It looks all right. People have commented on it and they like it, but it's not how it is. And Anna's been on my case. And when you're in the trade, when you're in that home improvement sort of thing, that's your job. The stuff you need to do at home always gets put back. It's like, oh.
Famously so. And you're also now in the kitchen trade of the you can kitchen trade.
Yeah.
So your kitchen's got to look fab, right?
Yeah, it's got. I mean, it's got all the bells and whistles. It's just not finished. So yeah, that's what I'm doing this week. What about you?
Have you got one of those thin cupboards that pulls out that's got supplies in it?
A larder cupboard, a larder unit.
No, thinner than that. Just the cleaning products.
Oh no.
They're mint.
No.
They're really good. I like those.
I'm old school, mate. They go under the sink.
Yeah, my mum and dad have got one of those. We haven't had a new kitchen done. That was always on top of my list. I was like, oh, that's cool. That is. See,
my kitchen's it's a small kitchen. My kitchen, it's not big. You've got a lovely sized kitchen. Yours is a big kitchen. So I've got to be very economical with space and cupboards and things like that.
Your kitchen bigger than yours?
Yeah, your kitchen's well bigger than mine. From what I remember, anyway. Unless I'm just remember it bigger than what it actually is. We are talking about kitchens here, by the way.
Yeah, it does have
The fondest memory, but the cruelest reality.
I remember it being so much bigger than this. It's always been this big. I'm sure it's bigger than this.
Because yours is, from what I remember, it was a while ago. Was that yours? It's not a galley kitchen, but it's quite similar. Isn't it? Yours is quite long, and you got a kitchen window at the end.
Yeah, a kitchen window at the end. It's not that long though. It's more. It's just. I think it's a square-ish.
Is it?
Probably a rectangle, but.
Yeah, my kitchen's really small. I just make the best of the space there is. Hence me taking that wall down in the kitchen.
Knock a wall down for a cooker.
Well, knocking that wall down has like really helped. That really helped. So yeah. Anyway, do you know what? People haven't tuned in for home improvement chat. So
I'm not sure they might have done.
So yeah, other than that, I've not done any hobby. Still done a hobby. This is the first hobby I've done in ages. Like I say, set myself some targets for over the Christmas break to get as much hobby in as possible. I've got a shiny new box set which I'm dying to get stuck into and build some terrain for, which we'll chat about. We're What about you? What have you been doing? The obvious.
Panicking, screaming,
Yeah.
all that. Yeah, I've had a good couple of weeks. My hobby-wise, it's been documented now. I think in the week after the stream, I was mainly doing the Grim hammers that are in my last vlog. I think.
Yeah.
So managed to get, huge spoiler, Steve. Managed to get 12 Grim hammers painted up and finished over the last 2 weeks, which was pretty cool.
Yeah.
So pleased then. Models that have been sitting in my backlog for absolutely years. Felt very, very BSIME, even though, spoilers, they were being painted up for Throne Skulls.
Mm-hmm.
And I also, one of the birthday presents I got was tickets to see Frozen.
You stop going on about your birthday.
Just for me and my missus.
Do you know what? It's funny you said it because I was in London last week. I did forget to mention.
We were both there. Yeah.
And I seen all the posters for everything, and it does look awesome. And I was pretty jealous because I knew you were going. So
yeah, we'd gone because you were there. You were in Comic Con the day before us, right?
Yeah, yeah.
We went with I promise. I promise this is nice and not seedy. When Frozen got announced, how to say this? I really like Samantha Barks. I really like Samantha Barks. I've really liked Samantha Barks for a long time. And when she was announced as Elsa, I basically lost my shiz. And then was like, well, we got to go and see this. I was like, we got to go and see it anyway. It's Frozen, but with Samantha Barks. So eventually we bought tickets, I think in 2019 when they first went on sale.
Yeah.
And then they were put off for a year and a half. We finally got to go last Christmas. So Christmas 2021. About a year and a half after we were meant to because of COVID. And it was awesome. When we got there, wasn't Samantha Barks. It was the understudy.
Oh, rude.
And so the adult in me went, this isn't for you.
Grow up.
Yeah, and so my parents were there and Charlotte was there and we had a lovely time. And the show is freaking amazing. It's absolutely amazing. Like staggering. But I didn't get to see Samantha. So my mum, for my birthday, got me and Emma tickets to see Frozen without Charlotte. As a date night. I said, we'll babysit. Go and see this. And get this, I don't need to tell you this bit, but I think it is part of the fun story of what made that weekend. And I was like, okay, well now I know what happened last time. And it went onto Twitter, and Samantha Barks posted her holiday dates. And the night my mum had bought tickets for, she wasn't on. And I was like, this isn't about me seeing Samantha Barks. This is mum buying these so that we see Samantha Barks. And who, by the way, is absolutely on my laminated list. And so I just said to her, I was like, look, just so you know, I don't want you to be disappointed about Sophie. She's not on. And my mum went, oh, I'll tell you what, why don't I take Charlotte?
Yeah.
She was like, Charlotte wants to go again. I'd love to take her out. And then I'll get you guys replacement tickets. I was like, quid's in. And we were like, well, let's look for a date. And we were looking into December and January and all that. And suddenly we came up with, what about Sunday? And we're like, could it really be so simple? Had tickets. Samantha Bott, they don't confirm when she's on, but she publishes when she's not on. So my mum and Charlotte went to see Frozen on Saturday night. And me and Emma went to see it on Sunday night. And I tell you, mate, we got there. And you basically run up to that screen that says who's playing what. And when the top billing was Anna, we were and we saw Samantha Barks and Steve. She was brilliant.
Was she lovely?
She was lovely. She was brilliant.
Was she a thigh rubber?
She was. I mean, she's so good. She's so freaking talented. But she was a cracking Elsa in every sense.
Yeah, it does look awesome.
It just blew me away again. I teared up twice. I love that story. I think it's wonderful, and it didn't seem to matter one jot that we didn't have the kids. And then we went for Chinese afterwards. It was great.
Did when you were there, were the what do you call it? It's like the people doing not the busking, because they have all different acts on, didn't they? When we was there, knowing at Covent Garden when you're walking up and down the store.
Oh yeah, like the street performers.
Did you see the guy with the whip?
No,
the whips and the knives.
No.
It was very odd. There was a whip guy.
Landed down.
It was freezing cold. He he like had like a pair of lycra pants on, and it was obvious nothing underneath. One of those. I went, oh, this would be cool. This would be cool. Seeing like a few knives throwing and whip cracking, and got through the crowd with my girls and ushered them, turned them straight back around. I went, no, that's not for you, girls.
No, I didn't have the pleasure of it.
It was great though. It was great in London. I've not been to London for a long time. I mean, I've been to yours.
I've got kids now, you know.
Yeah, it's.
We were saying that just the two of us, like walking around London. We were like, this doesn't happen anymore, particularly because of COVID. But having kids, we're like, when was the last time me and you just went out in London?
Yeah,
we used to always do it when we were dating and stuff. But, yeah.
It was great.
No, it was amazing.
It was really nice to see all like the lights. Christmas lights were up everywhere.
It's lovely.
Yeah,
it's fun going to Chinatown as well. I will say that, and I'm sure I said this first time I saw it, but mate, that if you can see it, go and see it. The costume change is best thing I've ever seen on stage. It's next level magic. Even now, knowing when it was coming, it's huge spoilers. It's in Let It Go, and it's like that, mate. It's like that. You don't see it. Nothing happens. She's just in a different dress. Doesn't go black. There's no hiding from it. It's just it's just magic. It's proper magic. Kids all go nuts.
Snow magic, mate.
It's just beautiful. Just beautiful, man.
I forgot where we was. I got all caught up in Frozen. Where were we?
Saying what I've been up to.
Oh yeah, go on.
And then this last week, hobby-wise, I've just been like full on throwing a skulls stress, really.
Yeah.
Doing all the usual stuff, display board, costuming, objectives, all those kind of things.
Mate, you know what's really annoying? I was like really ahead.
Yeah, I know.
On my Throne of Skulls army. Started it early, did the smart thing. Can't bloody go.
Sucks, man.
It sucks ass.
Truly sucks.
Yeah, sucks ass. I was even like considering popping down on maybe the Sunday, but it might just annoy me that I couldn't be there.
Well, you wouldn't be able to see me because you won't recognise me.
Yeah, this is true.
I'm sure Damien was going to be here.
I wasn't coming to see you, mate. I was coming to see everybody else.
Wow.
I'll have
needlessly hurtful.
I'll have a chip on my shoulder because you got to go and I didn't. So I'll be like, sod.
So would everyone else there.
Yeah.
Like, everyone else would. You could be equally pissed off with them. Why just take it out on me?
Someone's got to take the fall, mate. Someone's got to take the fall.
I'll take that one off you, mate, if you want. If it
helps. So yeah, it is what it is. I'm only joking. It's like I say, I made my peace with it now. I was peed off for about 3 days because it was to and fro, and I wasn't sure if it was going to be a case that I couldn't go or not. And then like you kind of get your hopes up, and then
I'll be gutted. I would be absolutely devastated.
There was just there was a couple of things that happened. Then like the final nail in the coffin was.
I could deal with almost any of them, and particularly now with COVID and people still testing positive. You know, it's a risk for anything, but. I know last year, I don't think it might be so, but Michael Haskell couldn't make it because of COVID. He was already, and so he's really excited to be back this year. And like the same thing happened to Trokey with Ardacon last year. He tested positive for COVID beforehand. It's like, well, that's not done. He's just absolutely galling. And
do you know what? I think as much as like because it's a fantastic event. Like I love it. Like I say, I'm on your team when it comes to like probably the best event to go to well, it's not probably, it is the best event to go to at Warhammer World if you're a fan of the hobby. So it's I don't know, talking about it's making me annoyed again.
I can tell you're over it.
I'm over it.
Well, hopefully you can find a way to come down and enjoy it, because it'd be awesome to see you. But if not,
yeah, well, do you know what? It's like I was just about to say. It's as much the event and it being at Warhammer World, and it just being awesome like it is every year. But it's as much now because of this community as well. I find that when we go to like the big events, especially at Warhammer World now, there's always a lot of BSIMEs there, and it's just an excuse to actually catch up and chat and hang out. And I think it's probably that side of it that's hit me the most. I think it's just a bit crap. It's just a bit crap. I'm going to jump in the... I've actually got my first dry brush on. All my metals done. So I'm going to dry my dry brush so it doesn't go fluffy. Put my paint back in there. And I'll jump in the chat then if you want.
Hold on, sir. If you catch up with that, and then we'll plunge in to look at some of the Two Towers stuff.
Yeah, we've got 63 people in. Welcome, everybody. I hope you're all well. Sorry it's took so long to get into the chat. We have been going 40 minutes and been waffling. But I've not spoken to Damien for God knows how long. Since the last stream, we've not caught up. It's just been go, go, go. So it's nice just to catch up.
Remember, guys, Two Towers models. Whilst he's running through this, if you're new here or whatever, just go and grab one, clean it up, get a bit of paint on it. You don't have to finish it. Just have to be working on it.
Mm-hmm.
Just for the fun of it. And you might win a dice.
Okay, straight off the bat. Frederick's in. Janelmo's in. Janelmo, have you not been in for a while? Welcome, mate. It says hello from Denmark. Is the whip thread up? Can't seem to find it. It should be. I scheduled it for 5-2, and there are already comments in there. Yeah, it's definitely there. I can see it. Adam Harrison.
You checked that at the start of the stream.
I know. Adam Harrison is in. He says, good evening, everyone. First stream I've managed to catch live in a few months. It's great to have you back, Adam Harrison. I hope you are well. Jill's in. She says, evening all. How do you, Jill? Still got your Rohan box there to post somewhere.
Do you want to pop her address up?
Give us your mobile so I can throw it out there, Jill. Frederick, only 10 minutes until the Piano House starts. Dublay's in. He says, good evening, everyone. Joe Osmond's in. Good evening, everyone. Janelmo Whip Thread is finally up. Gary George is in. He says, good morning from Down Under, folks. That's
early. It's early.
That's as good as my Australian accent gets.
Very good.
Kate Hanson, how you doing, pal? It's Rory, isn't it? I nearly said Ruari. It's Rory Campbell. How you doing, mate? Because of Dragons is in. Green Trees in. Richard Fitzgerald is in. Josh Crosby's in. He says, I've noticed the Piano House intro has been far too short recently. I hope we get a long one tonight. I do apologise.
Does that mean we've been starting on time?
No, what it means is because we do this different way of getting me and you on the screen now. By the way, you look very clear tonight, mate.
Thanks, babe.
Big thumbs up to the internet connection. I'm liking it. Because of the way we do it, normally whilst that intro's on and you guys are enjoying the Piano House, me and Damien can be chatting away on Zoom, and it's fine, and planning the stream. But unfortunately, the way we do it now is as soon as I put on the whole screen, which is the screen you were talking about, me and Damien can't speak to each other. It's just the way it is. There will be a way around it.
Which seems very professional.
Yeah, it seems very professional. It's not. There will be a way around it, and I'll try and work it out over the holidays, and you'll get a little bit more Piano House. I may even have a new theme tune for 2023. Who knows?
I don't think I want that. I think they like
keep your fingers crossed. It might still be Piano House, but just slightly different.
Slightly different Piano House.
Yeah. Sound works, video works, says Frederick. Sound is good. Hello all. New here. What is whip? Asks Soup Dragon. Well, Soup Dragon, if you're still here, seeing as you're new and you were listening to us talk about Frozen and kitchens, welcome first and foremost. It's great to have you. What is whip? The whip is a thread on Facebook in the Great British Hobbit League Facebook group. You can't miss it. It'll probably be top of the group when you see it because it's already got 24 comments on it. So if you're not part of the Great British Hobbit League, go and join it. It's a great group, really, really wholesome, and lots of hobby in there and lots of chat about the game.
Unlike the stream.
Unlike the stream, yeah. Sean Clark says, "Wait, am I late or are you early?" It's 9:02. This is how we roll when we get close to Christmas, Sean. Old school Chris says, "Oh my God, it's 2 minutes past and they're already talking. I was still watching the NFL." They're shocked, mate. They're shocked.
They're probably furious.
Good evening, lads. Hope you're well, says Remco. How you doing, pal? Frederick says, way too early for BSIME. And Nathan Bolton says, Sunday Blues a little bit better with a BSIME stream. A Beats Antiques Roadshow. I hope we do. Matthew Allen's in. How you doing, pal?
There is no higher praise, man.
Yeah. Good evening, all. Thrones prep for me tonight. Good man. Mr. Morgan Morris. Matthew Allen, yeah.
See you there, dude.
Mr. Morgan Morris, good evening, everyone. How do you, Morgan? And Sean says, I went to make a brew 4 minutes ago thinking I had plenty of time. No, never assume, Sean. It's the worst thing you can do.
I believe it might be.
It's what I always tell, like, you know, if we get like lads in, like labourers, and tell them to do something, say, never assume. Always measure. And then when you measure it again. Because you don't want to order a door wrong.
Once.
Measure twice, cut once. Jake is in. He says, evening all. Didn't expect this to start on time and got caught short of making a brew. I'm on theme, painting my fighting Urukai for a slow grow. Snap, my friend. Larry's in. He says, yes. Peter Taylor says, "Evening everyone, how you doing, Peter?" And Mark says, "A Christmas stream on the 16th of December would be pretty special for me, as I finish work for 3 weeks on the 16th. Just saying." Have we picked a date for Christmas? I think we haven't we?
No. So I believe, and these are to be confirmed, but I believe we are doing either the 19th or the 21st.
Yeah.
And then we said we would try and do one the week before.
Can't do the 19th.
21st.
Just literally this week, something's happened for the 19th.
So that sounds like the Christmas stream is going to be on the 21st, which is midweek.
21st.
And we were hoping to do one the week before.
Is the 21st a Tuesday?
I think it's the Wednesday.
Let me have a look. Yeah, you're right. It's Wednesday. Yeah.
So presuming you're free then, as
yeah,
I'm going to be, that I think we can pretty much confirm that now.
Mm-hmm.
Wednesday 23rd will be our Christmas stream, and we know it's obviously midweek, but
21st.
Yeah, the diaries are mad around that with all family stuff and Christmas stuff.
Mental. Yeah, it's mental.
That'll be Christmas one.
Yep.
And then we will try and get one in the week before if we can.
Mm-hmm.
And if we do, that will be the starter set, the new starter set.
Mm.
If not, we'll do one for the new starter set in January.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's our Christmas one. So try and, I don't know, you've got some notice. I know it's tricky. I'm not expecting everyone to do this, but some people might be off work for Christmas. But maybe if you know that in advance and you can take a morning off on the Thursday the 22nd or whatever, and come and join us for a bit of a Christmas party on the 21st, then we'd love to have you.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. I've got my Christmas jumper ready. I'm actually not going to wear it till the stream. It's not going to see the light of day till stream. Where are we? Martin Slate says, "Evening guys, how you doing, Martin? It's been a while since Martin's been in. Won't be on theme tonight due to TOS rapidly approaching. Looking forward to it all and catching up with everyone. It's good to have you back, mate." Adam Harrison says, "What a roll! What a roll!"
It's a 6.
Mm.
BSIME 6.
Mr. Matt Generation Shift says, "Hey guys, got a big work presentation tomorrow and got to finish a presentation. So this is very much appreciated." He's working that hard. He's working that hard. His typing's gone to pot. But yeah, knuckle down, Matt. You'll get there, mate. You'll do it.
Good luck, mate. And I will say to you live on the internet, thank you for all you've done. They're not here yet. 55 Generation Shift aces coming my way.
You'd be right. When were they on strike?
Thursday and Friday.
It's back to normal from Monday, Tuesday.
Yeah. But then I think they're doing it again on Tuesday. So I've got a package coming from him and a package coming from Will at 7th City, and I really, really need them both.
Yeah, should have went DHL. DHL's the way forward. Calamars says, "Evening everyone. Because the Dragon says, gonna power through some final riders of Rohan. You'd love to see it."
Oh, lovely! You love to see it.
Martin Slate says, "Festive snacks. Nope. A Big Mac and chips. Big Mac and chips." You know what? I've not had a McDonald's for ages.
I haven't done it on the stream either. But you had a kebab that time, and I got an ice cream. That's about.
I've had like a, what would you call my last Christmas? I had my
You gave me your heart.
I had all my sort of
your charcuterie board.
Yeah. Cheese.
That's what I call it. No, it wasn't last year. It was the year before.
The year before. It might be coming back.
Time flies when you're getting fat on the internet.
I enjoyed that. It was great. Dublé says, didn't realise you're such a Scrooge, Steve. A Scrooge? Why am I a Scrooge? What did I say I was a Scrooge for?
You went, it was probably about not putting the decorations up.
Oh yeah. No, 2 weeks before. They don't go up in my house till 2 weeks before Christmas. It's just how I've always done it, and it's how it's going to stay. Mark says, "December next Thursday, right? I want nothing to do with Crimble till then." I'm kind of the same way, but to be honest, I am feeling a little bit Christmassy. It was my daughter's birthday last week, which is why we're in London. And once that birthday's out of the way, it's kind of Christmas, really.
I will say for me, yesterday, I didn't mention this earlier, but we went back to my folks for the weekend. And we went to their I don't mind spoiling this. I don't think anyone's going to go and try and hassle my parents and pap them or anything. But it was in Tring, so it's a market town. It's a small market town, and they put on Tring Festival. Absolutely amazing, mate. Whole town taken over by stalls. They had reindeer. Santa was there. Pulled pork sandwiches, beers, a fun fair. We were there for 4.5 hours in the evening with the kids. It was amazing. Everyone, 3 stages of music. This tiny little town. It's crazy. Never seen so many people.
It's great when people go all out for Christmas.
And that made me feel really festive. That made me feel like, I was like, all right, fair enough. I'm in.
Yeah, I'll allow it.
I'll allow it now. So that did it for me. I'm all in there.
Joe Husband says, rule in my house is no Christmassy stuff before December 1st, except snacks. Snacks are exempt from the rule. Matt Hudson says, what irrelevant and valuable models are also in the Isengard box?
I think that's your Isengard box.
Oh, in that Isengard box.
Didn't you have like a OOP Theoden in your
Isengard box?
Yeah. I think, do you remember a while ago? Is that foam at the bottom?
Yeah.
I love you put foam at the bottom before you throw everything into it. That'll keep them safe.
I mean, that's all the chat. See, up on the shelf up there as well is all my other Isengard models that I've prepped. Or that I'd prepped at the time to go with that slow grow, and it's all like Warg Riders and stuff. But I need some more of these guys, so I dug them out.
Bit of foam at the bottom of all those. Is it?
Well, do you know what they used to be in those? They used to be. So I got loads of them foam tiles, and I'd have a layer of models, nice and neat, and then I'd put another layer of foam on, and then another layer of models, and another layer of foam. Yeah. But when it's an eBay lot, you just don't care, do you? I didn't want them in the first place. They come in a
foam
box.
at the bottom.
It's just there, isn't it? It's just
classic BSIME. Classic BSIME.
Mr. Dan Collis is in. He says, evening all. How you doing, Dan? Good to have you, mate. Double says, your anti-festive...
I don't think you mind me saying I've had a preview of Mr. Collister's Throne of Skulls work. It's quite spectacular.
I can imagine it's going to be awesome.
Good luck with that. Good luck with finishing that off, mate.
Double says, your anti-festive behaviour is forgiven by being on topic.
Yeah. Spirit of Christmas.
Matt Hudson says it can't be anti-festive if it's not festive time. This is true. Scott Newman says, good evening, everyone. Hope everyone is well. Painting and Aragorn tonight. Scott Newman.
Oh, Scott Newman.
Scott Newman.
Scott Newman.
Very good job, my friend. Very good job.
You won the award. The first Scott to comment today was going to get a clap. Well done, Scott.
If you are unaware of what we're talking about, go over to the Great British Hobbit League. If you do in the little search function, if you put Scott Newman, Army of the Dead, or anything like that, you will see his entry to Armies on Parade, wasn't it?
Armies on Parade.
Which he won, I believe.
Got bronze.
Was it bronze? It was bronze. But it's stunning. It's absolutely stunning. Go and check it out if you haven't seen it. It's beautiful. So congrats, Scott. Congrats.
So congrats, Scott.
Double says,
yeah,
boy. Double says, Michael Bublé songs are on the radio equals Christmas time.
Michael Bublé songs are on the radio.
I've heard quite a few Christmas songs already. I've not heard Wham, and I've not heard what's the other one? What's my favourite?
Just list all the Christmas songs.
Fairy Tale in New York.
You know what's become a modern classic for me? You know the kind of 20 songs from the 70s and 80s are kind of untouchable, and everyone learns them. I think Kelly Clarkson's "Is It All Around the Christmas Tree"? I think that's a banger. I think that's Mariah-esque.
It's not for me.
It's not for you.
Not for me.
Underneath the Tree. It's called Underneath the Tree. That's a cracker.
Good evening, everyone. Says Tom W. Tom W. Which Tom W is it?
It's not Tom Wag. It's Tom Wayne, I think.
Tom Wayne. Bruce Wayne's brother.
Yeah, it could be the brother of a fictional billionaire.
Yeah. Joe Hosman says to Double, stop self-advertising. And Mark says, I put in my first ever Generation Shift base order. Very much looking forward to getting my hands on them. You won't be disappointed, mate. They are beautiful.
When they arrive.
Martin says, so my board isn't finished and 16 models are not finished, but the costume is. Damien, what have you started?
The costume. Oh, if more people dress up to throw skulls like idiots, I'm all for it. I plan to be dressed up like quite the idiot.
That's not like you.
I genuinely think this might be the stupidest I've ever done. I genuinely do. I'm quite pleased and quite appalled.
Pleased and embarrassed.
On my latest vlog, I'll give you a teaser. On my latest vlog, someone said, because it was sort of, what costume do you think it'll be? Someone said Girion, Thror, and then underneath, someone went, I reckon he'll come as the Black Arrow. And all I'm going to say is none of those are correct, but the Black Arrow is the closest.
And even that's not close.
Depends where the Black Arrow is.
Yeah. Dave Walker says, working on Sharky foot mounted, just trying to blast base coats ready for washes, doing them at the same time, so I don't forget what colours I use.
Sharky mounted gets you in. Sharky foot wouldn't.
It's always a good way to do it. Don't forget that they are his buttocks that you can see at the back.
They are his buttocks, yeah.
They are his buttocks. There was a great debate on the GBHL, and I can confirm they are his buttocks.
He's got some BSIME buttless trousers.
Jolsman says, not planning on drinking 3 bottles of beer, then why did you buy the extras? Just in case, Joe. Just in case. It's for that feeling of... It's a safety blanket of beer. Tom W. Inspired by Damien's vlogs, I've decided to challenge myself this evening by pulling out all 45 models in my Isengard army with the intention of making them look better without stressing out. Good man.
Oh, cool, man.
Mark says, am I correct in thinking that patrons will eventually get their hands on one of those clear the back jobs mugs?
They don't.
I have to be careful what I say.
They don't get one of those. Those are only for us, precious. But anyone at the fortitude or higher level gets a mug after a year.
I mean, do we give an update to anyone that falls into that category? So we did say we hold our hands up here. We did say, and I think it was probably about a month ago, guys who are waiting on a mug, don't worry, we're on it. We did say that, and nothing's happened since then. Damien sent me a spreadsheet, but it's slightly out of date, so we need to change it. We're planning on having a sexy Zoom call over Christmas, and after that, then we'll sort the mugs out. So if you're waiting, don't worry, it is in hand. We are aware of it.
My only caveat on it, which I hope goes some way with the goodwill, is that lots of people out there in the world already have mugs.
Yeah,
they are real.
Yeah. No,
so you will get them.
It's not a big list for people who haven't got them. Yeah. There are more people who have them than haven't. So,
but yeah, they will be coming out. So yeah, anyone fortitude or higher after a year you get a mug. And Valor or higher after you get a personalised mug. Yeah,
it's just because it's just been so crazy busy. Where does one buy those beer cans, and how old are they? They're very new.
Ask my wife.
They're very new. I think they only come out in the UK. I think they trialled them in America through the summer, and then they came into the UK. I'm going to guess here, so don't string me up if I'm wrong. I want to say they came into the UK about between 4 and 6 weeks ago, and they were, as far as I know, they were only in Tesco stores. But yeah, don't quote me. I'm sure someone in the chat will know better than me. But that was my knowledge of it. Stollen, get in, Damien, says Mr. Scott Newman. Big Tesco's have them, says Matt Hudson. Burnley does, but I'm not brave enough to get them yet. Because of Dragons says it comes in cans. Does it also come in pints, says Rory. I'm getting one, says Remco.
It's nice to see them.
You know what? I'm pretty sure you can't buy one either. That's the thing. You've got to buy a crate of it. So if you buy a crate of it, you don't like it on your first can.
They're doing the quote. They're doing the quote, dude. Yeah. They're replying to each other, saying it comes in pints. I'm getting.
I know, but I was just clearing it up. I've seen the films, mate.
Did you know?
I know the words. Come on, David. You're better than that. Ashley Hampstead Reed is in. He says, evening all. I hope everyone is well.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Ashley. He's painting Haldir's Elves for a project. Perfect timing for this stream.
Yep, absolutely.
Ashley. What project is this?
Ashley, who does sexy things in White Dwarf, is painting Haldir's Elves for a project. Interesting. Yeah, Haldir's Elves. We'll chat about them definitely later.
I wonder if it's for a photo shoot for an upcoming supplement. Could be.
Can't wait to see.
Dublé says it's all right, but like with a lot of the brew dogs, it does taste like any other brew dog beer. Rambo Squirrel's in. He says hi. How you doing, pal? Frederick says, I mean, did we say that? No, talking about. I can't say all that, Frederick. I can't say all that. Whether you're referring to it as birds or not, I can't say it. You know, it's the usual types of birds.
You said that.
Who did?
You did.
I did.
Who did? Who? You know what I'm talking to. It's like you turn around. What? Someone else in there?
What did I say?
You said it gets on your birds.
Oh, did I?
Yeah.
Apologies to any children in the chat. Martin Slate says, "Gutted you're not with us, Steve." I'm gutted too, mate. Julian Hammond says, "Evening, guys. I need this hobby time tonight at the end of a busy weekend. I'm adding detail to my Rohan Royal Guard tonight before they go to Throne of Skulls."
Julian.
Green Tree says, top kitchen content. Sorry, what did you say?
Was that Julian Hammond?
It was Julian Hammond, yeah.
Oh, see you there, sir.
The man that bringeth gifts. Gives good gifts, Julian. Good gifts.
He gives good gift.
He does. Joe Kelly's in. He says, hello from the States. Hope everyone is well. Love the Sunday afternoon stream. I hope you're well, Joe.
It's not the afternoon.
I know, it's crazy. He's got loads of the weekend left. Rambo Squirrel says, I'm currently waiting for my house sale to go through, but at the end I'll have a dedicated room for hobby and the money to go for a Forge World shopping trip. Woohoo!
How are you going to get a house and have money? That's not how I understood it works. I thought it was the other way. I thought it was when you get your new house, you have no money.
Katie's in. She says, hi, everyone. Looking forward to Thrones next weekend.
It's really bad.
Joe Kelly says, Samantha Fox is Elsa? ? The same Samantha Fox from the 90s.
No, Samantha Box, not Samantha Fox.
I mean, that would be a different kind.
A surprising casting choice.
Let it go in a Cockney accent.
Yeah, I don't know if Samantha Fox is still available for West End musicals. But,
she does sing, though. She does sing.
She does.
She's got a pair of lungs on her.
A pair of lungs, yeah, she does have a pair of lungs. Sadly, it was Samantha Fox. I see you throwing skulls, Katie. Love to see you. Is that? I feel like is that your first singles one? We played you at doubles, I know, but you might have picked up something since. But yeah, let us know and let it go.
Let us know. Rory says, are you sure that was Covent Garden, Steve? Yes, I'm definitely sure.
Sure it wasn't the internet.
Frederick says, Samantha Bark streams in Middle-earth, SBSIME. Rambo Squirrel says, hello, 999. Can I have an ambulance? I've just seen a man get severe burns.
What was that for?
Who got burnt? Did I get burnt or did you get burnt?
I don't know. It could be either of us. Maybe it was the man doing the knife throwing in his underwear or whatever.
Maybe. Working on a mix of models tonight, says Larry. Haldays Elves to get in the draw. Working some more on my multi-stream Theoden, as he's an iconic character introduced in the Two Towers. And doing some more on my Penguins, because you might not know this. And I'm going to skip Ashley Fisher's comment and come back to it, just so it doesn't go out of context for Larry when it stops jumping. But the Two Towers starred Elijah Wood, who's obviously most well known for the hit animated film Happy Feet.
Quality link.
Quality. Ashley Fisher says, evening all, nursing a stonking cold at the minute, so we'll do some clean up and assembly of some Uruks, then watch the rest in bed. A lot of people on Uruks tonight. Good company. And then we've got 69mega.com, Tinder, Our Girls Right First.
Oh, nice to hear from you. I think some girls are right first, but some girls are wrong first.
Remove. Middle Earth Gaming is in, and he says, oh no. What's happened, Middle Earth Gaming? Do tell.
Is that Benji?
I think it's Benji, yeah.
We had this discussion last time.
I think, yeah, it's
Middle
Benji.
Earth Gaming, welcome to the family.
Welcome. Is he in the chat yet?
No,
was
that
my job?
I've sent Middle Earth Gaming. I think we can say this. Assuming it's the same Middle Earth Gaming. I've sent you a message on Patreon because they joined up to the Patreon screen saying, can you DM me on Facebook
Yeah.
See which account it is to add you to the chat.
Yeah.
Be super if you could.
You have to, for us to be able to add you to one of our chat groups, we have to have spoke to you in Facebook chat first. It's just weird. So if you can, if you drop Damien a message on Facebook, we'll then add you to the Patreon chat. And welcome, my friend. Thank you for supporting us. It's awesome to have you on board, and I'm sure you'll love it. You're very enthusiastic, so you are going to love it in the Patreon chat. It's a great place to be, and it never switches off. Green Tree says, "Oh yeah."
Yeah.
Oh, I think that's in reply to Middle Earth Game saying, "Oh no." Rob Lansbury says, "Glad I can catch one live tonight, but I'm on an early shift tomorrow, so I might have to call it slightly early tonight." Yeah, gutted, Rob. We're all. I think we're all up early tomorrow. It's not going to be a late one tonight. Excuse me. Don't worry. This is really gassy beer. This Moretti is really gassy.
This is nice.
It tastes good though.
Must be a huge benefit.
Remco's in. He says it is back. I think he's talking about 69mega.com.
Nice.
Please, nobody go to 69mega.com. We cannot guarantee that your eyes won't hurt when you get there. And Benji, we think it's Benji, says, "G'day guys, hope you're well. I'm able to watch today. Got today off. Good to see another one live." Well, congrats on having a day off. I'm very jealous.
I think particularly given he's in Australia, even more thanks. So if you've got a day off, you've got up early to watch us.
Yeah. What time is it? What time would it be in Australia now?
I think 8. I think one of them's 6 a.m. It depends where you are in Australia. I think it's either 6 or 7 a.m. When we start. So 7 or 8 a.m. something like that.
Josh Crosby says, "Change Piano House and I'll cancel my Patreon." Larry says, "Pretty sure they picked the 24th. Green Tree says 21st. Thumbs up. Larry said, Damien said 4th in a way that kind of sounded like 1st. And Dale Groves in says, "Good evening, guys. Sorry I'm late. No problem, my friends. It's good to have you."
He's at Throwing Skulls.
He is. Frederick says, "Thanks for the foot map." If you know, you know. Julian Hammond says, "Steve giving advice about measuring and not assuming." Just after having explained he bought a cooker that wouldn't fit in his kitchen unless he does.
Lads. I've been doing this for a year. You got to listen to me. You got to make sure the thing will fit before you
do
buy
what
it.
Do what I say, not what I do. Old School Christian, he says, "I'm going with my lucky model again tonight, hoping that finishing Harmer will give me a second dice for painting him. Not going to base him though, just in case there's a chance for a hat trick." Ooh. And then he put an exclamation mark, but he even put the exclamation mark on its own in a separate comment.
Do you mind reading that again? I missed the implication.
So he says, I'm going with my lucky model again tonight, hoping that finishing Harmer will get me a second dice for painting him.
Right. Got it.
So was Harmer eligible? Is the question.
No.
So you're not going to win a dice, Chris.
No.
So sling Harmer back in the drawer.
But what's the third? He said a third. What?
But can I just say there'll be no Harmer in painting him.
I can. I like it a lot. What would be the third chance for Harmer?
Yeah, what would be the hat trick? What would be the hat trick?
Or is he saying has he already won 2 dice and so this Harmer might be his third?
No, because he says hoping finishing Harmer will get me a second dice for painting him. So then how would he get the hat trick? Explain yourself, Chris.
Not tonight, mate, I'm afraid.
I mean, you're confusing us, but that is an easy thing to do.
We actually discussed in Harmer Week that he was released as part of the 2 Towers Journey book.
Yeah, we did. Benji says, "Been working on a few things recently. Dale, New Glorfindel, and the Dragon Emperor.
Full models
all awesome." Yeah. And then Chris says again, "Phones to protect the bottom of the drawer." Exactly. Frederick says, "That looks like a BSIME version of a mini case, just like the Bits box. Have a big chaotic pile of minis just to put them onto a piece of foam. Sorted." It's just because I don't care about it. Because I've got my army. They're just bits. Matt Hudson says, "Little Saint Nick, best Christmas song, hands down, Wham! Second."
Little Saint Nick? The Beach Boys?
Nick.
No. Madness.
No. What's your favourite Christmas movie, Damien?
Bernard and the Genie. That's why I took it to the Rings of Power. It's an easy answer.
I think
Bernard and the Genie.
I always thought mine was Elf, like a really sort of obvious one to say because everyone says it. But like this Christmas, I'm looking forward to watching Nativity again more than Elf.
I saw a lovely post from Trokey yesterday. He was talking. Did you follow any of that? That he was talking about watching Christmas movies, and he said one of the defining factors of it is that they're utterly devoid of peril.
Yeah.
And he just finds it incredibly comforting. And it was the kind of, like the Hallmark movies, like the B movies.
You can just sit there and just like, nothing bad's gonna happen.
And it was quite wonderful watching him basically live blog this film. But yeah, Bernie and G. I mean, I adore the Snowman. I watch the Snowman every year and I cry every year. And Muppets Christmas Carol, I reckon. But yeah, Bernie and the Genie for me. It's not Christmas until I've watched it.
Larry, let us know in the chat what you're.
One night, on the boat, he walks on water.
Larry Miller says his dad, not his brother.
Does he? Why would he say that?
His dad, not his brother. Benji says just need a zoomed in picture of the wrong way to do it, Frederick.
That's what your box. I think what they're implying is that if you take a zoomed out photo, it's dreadful, but then just zoom in and go, this is how to store malts.
Generation Shift Matt says, yes, my sentence structure was abysmal then. Apologies. It's fine, mate. It's fine. We've all been there. We've been there. Done it. Mr. Collister says, I'm in full frantic hobby mode, to be fair, but got loads done today so far. Good to hear. Also, Chris is asking, Damien, has Damien gone as a win, Lance? Question mark.
The thing is, if I keep answering,
you got to narrow it down.
Someone will guess, but I'll happily say for that one, no. I'm not going to lie. I did think about it with I think it was Emma's idea, and she was like, "Just imagine where this is going. You could have a giant thing coming out of your head." And I was like, "Yeah, I could." But that was it. My face would be like the front of the windlarts with like the 4 spikes coming off, and then just a black arrow going out my head.
And then he also has, he's a bit cheeky, has a second guess, and he says, "Ooh, maybe Bane."
What, from Batman? No, it's ridiculous.
And then Janelmo says maybe Damien's costume is the Windlance.
A lot of love for the Windlance.
Sean Clark says, is it Bane with the black arrow on your shoulder?
More likely to be the black arrow with Bane underneath me.
Yeah. Frederick says, are you dressing up as Smaug, a ruined Dale building, a Windlance, a kite? So many possibilities.
All of the...
Martin Slate says, Damien, are you dressed as Bane's shoulder stroke improv Windlance?
Maybe.
Go as a shoulder, that'd be right. Rory says, is it a dwarf coming up the loo in Bard's house? Now that would be a good fancy toilet dress. That would be a fancy good, because all you'd have to do is put a toilet seat over your head. Done.
Wouldn't have to.
Done. Finished. Larry says, giving up on searching for my missing Haldir's elf and Theoden's arm. You don't want to lose an arm. And then Benji says, hang on, it's jumped. 1 second. Bloody hell. It's jumping loads. Benji says, I originally thought Damien was going to be dressed as a mountain stroke Erebor, but
that's good.
Now could be anything. Frederick says, hashtag justice for Birdle Streams.
Birdle Streams?
Birdle Streams.
What's Birdle Streams, you think?
Birdle Streams, don't know. Rambo Squirrel says, the burn was Steve saying goes to Throne of Skulls to see everyone else. Ah, right.
Ah, yeah. It was brutal. It's all right.
He knows it. He knows I don't mean it. He knows I don't mean it. He knows it. I whisper it in his ear when we share a room.
If only you could share a room.
Yeah,
you're never there.
Joe Kelly says, also don't forget to check the emails. Bonus Thanksgiving cooking pick included for Steve. Get in.
Love to see it.
Benji says, not a problem, guys. Just wish I could do it earlier, but better late than never. Currently 9 a.m. in Sydney, and just messaged Damien. Yes, it's Benji, by the way.
Brilliant, Benji. Thank you.
Good to have you, mate. Thank you very much. Carl says, evening, guys. Popped in for
She sent me a message again. Yes, it is me. Huzzah.
Carl says, evening guys, popped in for a brief moment. I'll be back shortly to get some work on Urux and mainly a display board for next weekend maybe. See, now me being like making peace with it, I'm like feeling really crap again because everyone's going through on schools. It's terrible. Destro says, Estonian greetings all. Welcome, my friends. Larry says, my search for the missing elf has gone so well that I now simply have one less elf than when I started searching.
Do you know what I'm going to do?
Go on, what are you going to do?
It's a rare moment we do this, but it's always beautiful. I'm going to add Benji to the patron chat live on stream.
Strap yourself in, Benji. Strap yourself in, lad.
You're there in Australia right now, not in the patron chat.
Yeah.
Just imagine technology. I'm going to hit a button here. You'll be in the patron chat, just like that.
It's magic, mate. It's magic.
Can you count down for me? 3,
2, 1, go.
I was hoping you'd count down from like 73 or something. But...
73.
Dad. He's in. He's
only in. Welcome. Everyone who is a patron here, please make Benji welcome in the chat. Old School Chris says, looking at a hat trick in another future stream maybe, but obviously not if he's ineligible today. Metal Wild Riders count though, right?
Metal Wild Riders do count.
Yep. Yeah, they do, because they were. Yeah, they're still great. They're great models.
I actually picked mine up in the made to order. That's where I got mine from.
I think I got 2 boxes of them. I'm not mistaken.
At the bottom of that box.
No, a box there full of stuff that's unopened and not looked at for about 10 years. Larry says Nightmare Before Christmas or Scrooged, I think. I never really got that Before Christmas. It's not one that I look forward to. Larry says, I was talking about Thomas Wayne. Joe Gilly says...
better his brother than his dad or whatever. He's talking about Thomas... You said, is it Thomas Wayne? Is it Bruce Wayne's brother?
Yeah.
I think then Larry's comment was something about a brother or a dad, which we didn't know. And he was talking about... he's saying that Thomas Wayne is Bruce Wayne's dad, not his brother. I think... Right. I think I've cracked that.
Okay, I'll go with it.
Classic Miller.
Joe Kelly says, chat is especially funny tonight. You guys are on fire. Because of dragons, I think he's saying the chat's on fire, not us.
He said you guys are on fire. Oh, well, I suppose.
Yeah, but I think he was talking to the chat.
Do you not think he's talking about like our chat is on fire?
No.
Our sex.
It's a Kings of Leon reference.
Yeah, it's not a dirty joke.
Yeah, we're not talking about our.
We're talking about the Kings of Leon sex.
Yeah, it's on fire.
It is on fire.
Yeah,
and you should see a doctor episode.
It stings. Because of Dragon says, I really like the Santa Claus, but I have a little sleeper favourite in Claus, Netflix film from a few years ago. Or is it Klaus? Julian Hammond says, best Christmas movie, Polar Express. It is a good one. I'll give you that. I forgot about that one.
Oh, the bells.
Larry Miller says, I think he'll be dressed as a particular Doer Hammer. Is it Doer Hammer?
Is that he's saying Dower Hammer?
Dower Hammer?
Because I'm painting Grim Hammers.
Yeah. But then I put it somewhere. Oh, sorry, it says, worst thing is I found the arm a few weeks ago when I didn't realise it was lost. But then I put it somewhere. I always do. You
didn't put it somewhere safe, did you?
Do you know what? Listen, I've got a very similar problem here, Larry. I'm gonna break this down for you now because I'm in big trouble here. Come the 1st of November, unless I sort it out, I'm in big trouble. So last year, Damien, do you do the elf thing with your kids yet?
No, we haven't done it.
So we do the elf.
I talk about Tariel a lot, but I don't think that's what you mean.
So we did it, the elf on a shelf thing, right? And my kids go mad for it. It's what they mostly talk about on a lead up to Christmas. Last Christmas when we were putting the decorations away, last Christmas on Christmas Day, because you don't see them on Christmas Day because they disappear on Christmas Eve. I remember putting the elf somewhere.
Oh no!
And thinking this is a great place to put them till next year, and I can't remember where that place is.
It's a disaster.
It's a terrible, terrible thing. And all Daisy spoke about for the last week is she can't wait to see Jingles.
Could you not?
I don't think Jingles is going to make an appearance.
Are they not a generic?
No.
Elf.
No.
Really?
So we've actually got 3. This is the weird thing. So
the elves on the shelves.
So they had one each kind of thing, and they've got their own names. But then last Christmas, Anna come up with this idea because she's seen it somewhere that they had a baby elf. So last Christmas, another elf, a little baby elf thing about that big, arrived. So I've mislaid 3 elves. And Daisy's just been talking about she can't wait to see if the baby elf, Jingles, has grown.
You shot yourself on the foot with that. Should be getting older every year, right?
Yeah.
Oh, no,
I mean, I'm on the verge of breaking it to him that Santa doesn't exist, but just to get out of it.
Well, couldn't you say, like, you know what it's like when
there is no Christmas magic.
They don't have time to do that sort of stuff anymore. They're all settled down.
I don't know what we're going to do, mate. I don't know what we're going to do. I told Anna and she just said, well, you better find them. But she said it in a, like, not the usual, like, you know, jovial, jokey voice. It was a serious voice.
There's no humour, only dull.
So I was kind of like, come on, don't be like that.
I'll do like that.
But we'll see what happens. So yeah, you're missing an arm. I'm missing elves, and gonna ruin people's Christmases.
Oh,
well, don't drop that thing there. My prediction: Damien is going all out as Master of Lake Town, says Joe Kelly.
Bit obvious. I wouldn't consider that going all out.
Frederick says, "Do a live ad to the chat with Benji." Do a live.
Did it, mate? Completed it.
We did it. Benji then says, yeah, boy. Frederick says, yes. Larry says, Damien got it on the second pass, sadly. Thomas and Martha Wayne are his parents. Yes, they are. Jake is in. He says, best Christmas movie, Die Hard. Not sure it really counts, but it welcomes Christmas at
Of course
our house.
it counts.
It does
Of course
count.
it counts.
It is
we can have this debate next time.
Yeah.
It is a movie set at Christmas about going home for Christmas, full of Christmas songs.
Yeah.
Of course it counts.
And it's got snow in it. Rambo Squirrel says there are creams for that.
I think that might be for the burn.
Yeah. Joe Kelly says we're talking about everyone. Kudos all around. He's pulling it back, Joe. Mr. Collins says just banged a coat of matte varnish on my display. So that's me done hobbying for the evening. Time to pour a glass of wine and enjoy the stream. Productive evenings hobby. I like. You love to see it. Pets and the 4-ups in. How you doing, mate? He says hello. Just back from scouring of Stirlingshire. We'll have to catch up with this another night. I hope it's been
I thought I saw a picture of you there. So.
I hope you had a good time, mate, when you're watching this on catch up. Larry says I actually think Damien will have decided to go with the Steve costume we were discussing last stream. If Damien doesn't rock up to Throne of Skulls knowing that I can't make it and I'm devastated by it and he hasn't got a picture of me in his pocket all weekend, I would be utterly disappointed. Utterly disappointed. Just
is
saying.
That all? A picture in my pocket?
Just saying.
Is that all I need?
That's it. That's all you need.
Okay, I can do that.
And show it to people every game. Hi, I'm Damien from BSIME. You'll be playing myself and Steve in my pocket. Jerome says, not sure that I will call it the best, but my favourite Christmas movie is Hogfather. I've not seen that one yet.
Wasn't that the first Pratchett adaptation with David Jason in?
I've still not seen it.
It's done by Sky at Christmas.
Rambo Squirrel says he could go dressed as the Hornberg and time his farts. Have you looked in your elf box? Says Larry Miller. Or your Rohan box, says Tom W. It's funny. Genomo says Santa does not exist. Cry face.
Yeah, he broke that one. It's worse when he gave out Jill's address.
Middle Earth Gaming. Wonder how many Christmas Steve just ruined in the chat. Laurie says, I think Steve was just suggesting making up a wild lie to distract them from the elves. Yeah, the most recent Miracle on 34th Street is one of my favourites, says Benji. Which was there a new one?
I don't know. I would say the most recent was the Richard Attenborough one, but it ain't recent, so maybe it is the most recent though.
And then he puts after most recent, as in 20-odd years old.
Yeah, it's probably Richard Attenborough one.
Larry says, and put Die Hard in the latter. Julie Hammer says, Steve, have you stored your elves in the rare Theoden box? What's it got in its pockets? It says Benji. And Martin's Light says, why is Zulu always on at Christmas? Michael Caine going around saying Old Boys Run feels extremely festive to me. Or I'm merging Zulu with Muppets Christmas Carol and Nightmare Fuel.
Fire at will.
Frederick says, wow, feels like I'm almost done with my Uruk Captain. Basically just skin and armour.
Yeah, they are quite a pleasant, fun little paint job, to be fair.
Mm-hmm. Larry says, I thought Damien had a picture of you in his pocket all the time anyway. Maybe.
Not you,
The Hogfather is a Hogswatch film, not a Christmas film, says old school Chris.
Oh, very clever.
Caught up on the chat, mate.
Woo!
Well, I knew, it's a short one. I couldn't be on it all day.
It's good, man.
So, yeah.
I'm in the middle of a stage, but I'm happy to stop in the interest of streaming. And I've already made some really good progress tonight, so I'm quite happy. So what I'm going to do, we've kind of got 2 bits to go through here. So now it's lovely to hear from you all, but stop your chatting about Christmas and such. And what we want to hear from you is, if you have them, of course, but your memories and your feelings and your nostalgic musings about this Christmas 2002 and the release of the Two Towers. I've got 2 bits to jump through, so Steve can get some hobbying done now, and I'll sort of take over. And what we're going to do is, before we actually get to the book, before we get to the release, I'm going to go through the White Dwarfs.
Ooh.
And sort of see how things kind of ran out. So Steve, can I just ask you, were you hobbying then?
Yes.
Because I know you got into it through battle games, though, didn't you?
No. So I mentioned it in the last stream. So Cole started to take an interest just before this was released, with the Battle Games of Middle Earth thing as well. But he also had he was umming and ahhing and like seeing them, because I've said it before, I used to always walk past the Games Workshop stores and see the Lord of the Rings stuff in the window and stop and look. And I think the first kit that I bought was the Warg Attack box, I think.
So that's obviously after the Two Towers release.
No, well, I'm wrong then. This was the first box that I bought then.
What, the starter set?
Yeah, the starter set with the Uruks and the Riders of Rohan in. So that must have been the first box that I purchased. That must have been. And then I must have just got in some of the heroes. Yeah, that would have been it. I would have then wanted to get the heroes and got the Warg Attack set and Fellowship and things like that.
But that's kind of like the start of your hobby journey, right?
Pretty much, but I wasn't doing anything with them other than putting the models together, reading the book, working out my own set of rules off what it said in the book, and playing it with my young son at the time.
Very arrogant.
That's kind of what I still do to this day. Let's be honest.
I would say you've never finished.
Let's be honest. Yes, Aragorn on horse can move 25 inches.
Tom Harrison said, he wrote an article once that again, the way we when you play it and you just play it with your mates, and you don't go to tournaments or wherever, so you just, no one ever corrects you when you get the rules wrong. That he had, was it that you could, I can't remember how he did it, that you could keep heroic combat in or something, but somehow Aragorn killed 16 guys in a turn. I can't remember the rule he got wrong, but it was something that you could heroic combat again, and I'm sure he killed 16 with his Aragorn. So God, this guy seems really powerful. So that's you. So I found this really nostalgic looking back, because this is the point for me. I'm the opposite, but around this time I drop out of the hobby. So I've played since I was about 10. Yeah. Until the Fellowship came out. I talked a year ago on this stream. We talked about the release of the Fellowship, and I got it for Christmas. I got the starter set for Christmas, and I was super excited about it. But that was Christmas in my gap year, and then I went off to uni 6 months later, and I never took my stuff to uni. And so I never, as I said before, I played a bunch of games of Lord of the Rings in shops and with my own stuff. I never painted a single Lord of the Rings model back in the day. And then going to uni, I didn't do anything with it. And so this is coming out basically half a year into, I started uni in September, and comes out in the December essentially. And what I found really interesting was I've kept all my White Dwarfs, and I had the White Dwarfs. So either I still had a subscription, or I was still buying it every month. but I went back to my folks' house and dug through the massive pile, and I had the year's worth of the Two Towers White Dwarfs. So I was at this point where I wasn't hobbying with them, but I was getting the magazine and looking at them longingly, essentially. So what I thought I'd go through, there's some fun stuff to be had here in these, but what I've got horribly out of order now is
bang out of order.
Back out of order. I'm clearly missing a crucial issue here. Oh no, I'm not. There we go. So I'm going to start with this. This is White Dwarf 274, and this is October 2001. And on here we've still got Lord of the Rings: The Fellowship of the Ring. Okay, so this is the October, 10 months into the release of this game. And bear in mind the way White Dwarf used to be labelled. This is the magazine, I believe, that would have been released in September. Yeah, they released the following months in the previous months, if that makes sense. And in this, what we get. So if you bear in mind, you're reading this sometime probably in mid-September.
Yeah.
You get a page here called The Treason of Isengard, and it says from 30th September 2002. Games Workshop stores across the country will be demonstrating the new Two Towers range in their stores, with examples from the range, including the fantastic new Heroes of Helm's Deep box set and gaming with the great new plastics featured in the box. And on there, they then say on 3rd of November, the first of the Two Towers range is released. So compare that beyond anything else to, the Hobbit releases, where we had like nothing until the week they were released, as we've talked about in our various three Hobbit streams. We had nothing. You're from 30th September, you could go into the shops and play with the models. That's like 2.5 months before the film comes out. So whatever their embargo was or whatever, it's completely different to how it is now. And then also in that article, I just find this amazing. This is what I read earlier. Look at this. The same thing, September, and this is the complete release list up to April.
It's crazy.
They told you everything. There's not pictures of everything, but they told you everything they were releasing for it with prices. Compare that to the way, even what they do now, but that. And I remember them doing this for Fellowship when we looked at it last year. It's just kind of incredible, I think, that they did that. And the box set was, we'll talk about the box set in a few issues' time, but it was 40 quid. There's also, I did find this was quite interesting, in this, so 10 months into the game, there's an article from Alessio Cavatore launching points match battles for SBG. So a lot of people think there weren't points in the first edition. You hear this a lot of time. It's like, oh, the game started without points. That's not true. There were points right from the start. Everything has a points in the Fellowship of the Ring game. And I actually think what's fascinating about that is a lot of them are very, very similar to what they are now. So not only were there points, but there was clearly a really well thought out point system in there. But in here, it's the first time, as I said, 10 months into the game, where they actually try and explain how you could have a competitive game of this. It's the first sign where they're moving it away from like narrative gaming. And it's a set of rules that he writes in here is going to be used in the first of the Lord of the Rings grand tournaments that's coming up. And there was a few things that I found quite interesting in here. So this is Alessio, and he says, I'm convinced the skirmish level nature of the Lord of the Rings is not suited to fighting huge battles, and so I've capped the maximum number of models per side to 50. In my opinion, this number is the absolute limit for a game that can be played reasonably quickly. So, it does depend on points, of course, but he says 50 models. And this has like a points. It's not pick a points value. And the way it works is you have to use good and evil right from the start, 2 armies, and you have 1,000 points, and it's up to the players to decide what proportion of their points to allocate to each of their forces. But a minimum of 300 must be spent on each force. So it's not 2 500-point armies. Yeah. He mentions you can have a 460 and a 540. And then these are really interesting kind of requirements. So a maximum of 50 models. You must include a hero. No more than half of a force's points can be spent on heroes. So no all hero lists. No more than half of the force's points can be spent on missile weapons. And then evil forces. You ready for this?
Yeah.
They can't include Sauron. They can't include Grima. They can't include Gollum, and they can't include the Balrog. And they can include a maximum of 2 cave trolls. So the very first version of Points Match Lord of the Rings is pulling out those, big swings, I guess. Good forces can't include Gwaihir or Treebeard. And fascinatingly, I love this one because we've talked about it a lot on the stream. Heroes such as Galadriel that have special rules related to a specific location always count as beyond the borders of their realm. So yeah, those are the kind of like points about which I think is quite interesting. That's the birth of competitive SBG essentially.
Yeah.
And I also like this, where he says, "I've decided to ask players to collect not one but two forces, one good and evil." And then he writes in White Dwarf, "I can already hear the shouts. There they go. They want to force us to buy double the amount of models." Well, remember that we're talking of forces of maximum 50 models per side. So even if you decide to go for the most, you can field on both forces. You don't have to. We're speaking of 100 figures. Not such a scary number, is it? It's very different from other Games Workshop games, building on the strong opposition of good and evil, allowing greater freedom and variety to players. And I love that.
Yeah.
But it's like, can you imagine them addressing that now and writing that now? Like he basically predicts the internet.
Yeah.
You know, they've got, obviously we've got the, we don't have the raging social media that we have now, but I thought that was amazing. So,
it makes sense to be like that, though. You kind of nip it in the bud before it even starts.
But there's something fascinating that even then, 20 years ago, pre-Facebook, he's already aware of the nerd rage that will come from saying, "I think you should have two armies." But of course, let's be clear. At this point in the game, collecting two 500-point armies for this is quite tricky.
Yeah.
Do you want Mordor orcs? 3 metals for a $5. So potentially there might be some justification there. But I thought that was just quite an interesting article, and that was the rules at the first ever Grand Tournament. And he also includes three points match games, which is quite cool. And then you get a preview. You get a preview of the Two Towers that's coming out. You get a sort of 4-page preview. This is all in September, which includes like a full shot of the starter box and all that.
I'd love White Dwarf to do that again.
I just find it amazing how they must have been under heavy embargo because of the Lord of the Rings are spoilers, but clearly all this stuff was fair game. And I have a note to say, who is this?
Who am I looking at?
See that dude?
What is it? Well, it's conversion, isn't it?
Well, maybe, yeah. He's an Uruk that looks, and a lot of these, if you actually look at them, a lot of these are clearly prototypes, right?
Mm.
Their poses and proportions are a little off. But he looks a lot like one of the plastic Uruks, but with a bear head instead of a metal helmet on.
Mm.
So I don't know if he's still in the cabinet at Warhammer, but a guy never made it. So there you go. And it says next month, the Two Towers comes out. So you're reading all that in September. And even that, I say you're reading it in September, but it says from 30th of September. Maybe you're reading this in August.
Mm.
Oh, no, sorry. It would come out in mid-December, so it's saying from 30th of December. You can go into your shop and play the game.
Yeah.
Crazy scenes. So that's how it launched. And then we get the real launch issue. And what is in spectacularly interesting news that I think, this one, come on, lights, where are you? There we go. This is the main launch issue on the cover, as you'd hope. I didn't have this. I had all the others.
Mm.
I didn't have this. I don't know if I didn't have a subscription or I missed it or I didn't renew, so I missed one, or if I burnt it or something. I don't know. But I didn't have this, so I've ordered this. Picked this one up. Picked this up off eBay and had a nice read through it, which was quite fun. Nice. And so this is obviously the November issue, and this is one where the game launches, and you get the starts of the range. So you get the box set that you got with the 20 Uruks and the 12 riders. You get the dice, the original dice that now go for megabucks.
Mm-hmm.
Fascinating that they call them free peoples. They're all horses. They're green dice with white horses, but they're called the Free People's Dice Pack. Kind of fun. Little paint sets, Merry Pippin and Grishnak, and then you get this page. And if I don't know where you were in the game, but this page, I remember causing havoc.
Mm.
So can you see what you've got? You've got the Heroes of Helm's Deep.
Yeah.
That includes Haldir and an elven banner.
Mm-hmm.
And then you've got Haldir's elves. And you're reading this in October.
Mm.
This, I remember this clear as day. This is how a lot of people found out there were elves at Helm's Deep.
Mm.
And I remember getting this, and it somehow because it's not in the trailer. If you go and look at the trailers, there's no elves in Helm's Deep at the trailers. No sign of it. And I remember thinking, what the hell are they doing? Why is Haldir at Helm's Deep? What? And I can remember the nerd rage at the time, and those rumors that then started spiraling out. Are there elves at Helm's Deep? And it's kind of, maybe if we talk about the film on the next stream, it's one to focus on. But you know, that's a massive spoiler, right?
Yeah, big time.
It's revealed now, but who knows? You get the designer's notes where he goes through the changes they made, which are lovely, and then painting guides and really cool Wrath of Rohan battle report. The issue after that, so this is February, so this is probably coming out in January. I got a bit of history for you here.
Oh yeah.
You ready for this?
I'm ready, mate.
Look how far into White Dwarf we are. Not very far. We're not at the back. We're not with the Lord of the Rings stuff. Lord of the Rings hits TV screens. What do you think this is about?
Is that for the advert for BSIME?
Games Workshop is proud to announce we've given DXTini a license to create Battle Games in Middle-earth, a serialized gaming supplement available in the UK based on the Lord of the Rings tabletop strategy battle game. Battle Games in Middle-earth is a great introduction to the Lord of the Rings strategy game. However, there's plenty in it to excite and enthrall the experienced hobbyist too. Later packs will include details on how to set up and run campaigns. They did. Features on detailed modeling projects. They did. As well as introducing new painting styles and techniques. They did. The product will not be sold through Games Workshop stores or mail order, but you'll be able to find it in most high street newsagents. Make sure you look out for the television advert that accompanies the launch. To find out more, visit the Battle Games in Middle-earth website, www.the-ring.net. What a piece of BSIME history. The press release for the launch that led us all here. So that's January 2003. They're announcing that.
It's a great time. It's a great time.
Great time. That issue then, I think this was their Siege special. We get the Treebeard model, which is mega. Some Uruk Command models released, some modeling for the Helm's Deep, and then there's a little bit at the back where they. I made a note of this when I was looking through. They tell you in one of the scenarios to bring a demolition team, an Uruk bomb team, and there's nowhere in the book where they tell you what one of those is. And so there's literally an FAQ in this. It says, "What is an Uruk-hai bomb team?" And it says, "Well, yes, we meant to say, but we actually never did. Whoops! A bomb team consists of a demolition charge and 2 Uruk-hai armed with swords carrying it." This is quite fun. There's also, I love this. The bombs were free.
Yeah, free bombs.
Like, how many points does an Uruk-hai bomb team cost? What about a battering ram, a ladder, or a siege assault machine? After all, the siege game is a complicated matter and requires a lot of terrain, so we assume that people design their own sieges are experienced enough to decide for themselves the amount of siege equipment they want in their game. He says this is the same as asking how many points does a section of wall or gate cost. We have decided not to quantify their cost. And so I'm sure in that version they're like, you can only include them in the siege games. But you just imagine rocking up with your 1,000 points and your 20 bombs. Free, mate. So do what I want.
Or you've got walls in your army.
I brought a castle. It's free. Well, some people do that with the signal tower, don't they? So people are still doing it to this day. It's also worth noting that that's our second cover for the 2 towers. Like, not the back cover, the front cover. That's our second one. So then in December, this is like, you're reading this, I guess, in November, I guess, but this is like the 4th issue, and we're still in December. This is the one where he says, he starts talking about super exciting things for the future, and he mentions Shadow and Flame. So he mentions that, first of all, we're finishing writing the first supplement for our battle game, Shadow and Flame. It concentrates on the dwarves, yada, 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 yada. And then he says, I've read through the script for Return of the King, and more on that in a minute. And we'll soon start planning out our 3rd edition of the game, an exciting activity. So it's at that point that they are happy to announce that they can go further. You know, that this is, because that was huge. Shadow and Flame was huge for the game. It wasn't like, well, you're going to do 3 editions of the game, is that it? It was like, no, you know, we're extending our license into stuff that isn't in the films, and you're going to get supplements for this game. And he also mentions the message board, which is just cute reading about it now. Last but not least, it's always nice to keep an eye on the Lord of the Rings message board, where I constantly receive precious feedback from players. The brave moderators, Tim Huckleberry and Steve Hammett. I don't know them. They're not names that ring a bell. do their best to answer many questions. You sometimes pass me a worthy topic or submit a compiled list of Q&A, which I do to my best to answer. Have you ever had a look at the board? If not, then why not try the address below? It's one of the best ways to keep up to date with what's happening, including dates and venues of the many Lord of the Rings related events we organise. And it's official, so it's gamesworkshop.com/community/Lord of the Rings forum. So I don't remember that. It's before my time, but people out there may well.
I wonder if it's still live.
I suspect not. Maybe Steve and Tim are still there doing their work. We got the Warg Attack box then, the Gandalf on Shadowfax, the cool Saruman, mega stuff about the Helm's Deep. Painting Masterclass for the Wargs, all very nice. And then this was cool. They had this. The Lord of the Rings, the Two Towers Battle Game Day. Relive some of the awesome battles and scenarios of the Two Towers before the release of the movie. So again, this is being advertised for 15th of December. So this, your fourth issue is still, you're getting it pre the film. With only 3 days to go before the highly anticipated movie, Warhammer World invites you to take part in awesome battles that will recreate the first 2 Lord of the Rings movies. Take part in the largest game of the Lord of the Rings ever. Relive some of the best action sequences of the Fellowship of the Ring. Be amongst the first to take part in the Two Towers scenarios. Try out Alessio Cavatore's The Lord of the Rings points match battles. Bring along 500 points, good or evil. Join hobby classes, improve your modelling. Meet the personalities behind the game miniatures. See our life-size Lurtz model on display. He's still there. And we provide all the miniatures. All you have to do is come along. It's 10 quid. Sounds good.
Them work days.
And what I love about this is a different era. Look at that. Last few tickets. We're in an era where, I don't know, they had enough tickets or not enough demand or not enough players that they could write on a monthly magazine last few tickets and be confident that would be the case when they went to print. Imagine doing that for Throne of Skulls. Last few, the god.
Yeah.
It's good. Amazing stuff. Third cover. Doing well. It's 3 covers. Not bad. In here, what was this? So this one, which is, as I said, the 5th magazine, I think. It's the 4th one since they've released stuff.
Yeah.
So the 4th monthly magazine is when the film comes out, which is just nuts compared to what they did for the Hobbit. The year-long wait is finally over. It coincides with the release of the second film, The Two Towers. But of course, he hasn't seen it at this point because he's writing it in advance, which is just kind of fascinating. And then he basically says how this White Dwarf, it's weirdly open and transparent. He says this White Dwarf is going to get people in. He's like, people are going. That's why it's on the cover. He says people are going to see the film and learn about Games Workshop and come and play it. The significant thing about this issue is there'll be lots of newcomers to the hobby having been tantalized by the film, and then this issue is basically a welcome. How do you get into it? Essentially, the limited edition Helm's Deep is there. It's released that time, 40 quid. That's about 150 now, I reckon.
Yeah,
something like that. I haven't talked too much about prices, but they were £12 for 24 Warriors of Warhammer. They were 50p each when they came out. Are they now 30 quid?
I don't even know.
But yeah. Prices. Huge releases for the Uruks this month, which is mega. And then you get kind of introduction to the box, introduction to modelling, getting started, close encounter type thing, and then a battle report. So that's your kind of give that to a friend if they're interested in Lord of the Rings. Don't give this to a friend if they're interested in Lord of the Rings. And then there was a few other bits as it kind of goes on. What was that? 277. Oh no, where's 278? They're not in order. Oops.
I need to be careful. I'm gonna not leave myself any hobby to do over Christmas.
Because you're hobbying away.
I've done all because the way that I do my Uruks similar to Minas Tirith. I do all the metals and dry brushing, then a wash of Nuln Oil, thin down, then a wash of Agrax, and I'm just waiting for the null oil to dry, and then the Agrax, that's all the wash is done, and just get onto the flesh.
You love to see it. You love to see it.
Smashed it,
We've got
mate.
Wildman. We got Captured by Gondor. There's obviously articles in all of these.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think about that point, the Royal Guard come out with gambling with rules, as we'll see in the book. The Royal Guard aren't in the book, which is kind of fun. And then the releases stop. So that is the April issue.
Yeah.
So you've had 6 months worth of releases for the Two Towers, and then it stops. Because and you know they've released the range essentially. They've released everything for the Two Towers at that point, and so they're still putting loads of articles. But there's a great quote in here. So he's talking about. He mentions the Last Alliance. Now we do remember that, right? They have sent me links to some of the best ones. To give you an idea of yourself. Take a look at the Last Alliance website. There it is. I was surprised and very excited what I found. Tons of cool stuff. It gives me great professional satisfaction to see this game growing and growing from strength to strength. Last year it was just a newborn game, and in just 12 months it's begun to turn into a fully fledged hobby. I really hope the release of Shadow and Flame will convince even the most skeptical gamers out there that GW is committed to fully supporting this game system and consolidating it as a core system right beside Warhammer and Warhammer 40,000. I think that's interesting in terms of their outlook for it.
Yeah.
But then you don't get any releases.
I think a lot of like your Age of Sigmar players and your 40k players, I think they forget that them games are probably in the position that they're in now because of Lord of the Rings. Like Games Workshop as a business.
And I do think
exploded.
It's the Two Towers and Return of the King where it goes straight. Sorry. And then by the next month, which is July, we're into Shadow and Flame. Mm-hmm. So I'm not gonna dwell on this because we'll look at it at some point in the future. But we're now getting huge releases for ranges of dwarfs and ranges of goblins and stuff like that, alongside bits and pieces for the other heroes that come out through the appendix. And then get a Ring Wraith on the cover, Fellbeast on the cover, because they pop the Fellbeast in, and you get in this one, which is the September issue. So you're probably reading this in August. We get our first taste of Return of the King. Within days of the Two Towers DVD being launched, you'll get the chance to try out the new version of the Lord of the Rings strategy battle game, The Return of the King. From September the 12th, you can pop into your hobby store and try out the new Mordor Orcs and Warriors Minas Tirith. So again, crazy early that they were able to do that.
Bring those days back now.
Well, and there's a little note here on the last issue of the year. I believe this is the last issue with the Two Towers on there before they changed to Return of the King. And there's a thing here about Return of the King and scale. I need to try and find this. It might just be actually just interesting. This is him talking about before. This was like reading an Empire article. It was reading someone's insight before you saw the film. The fragments of material we've seen had a jaw-dropping effect. Oh, they've just done their fact-finding trip to New Zealand, and there he is playing SBG with Peter Jackson. It's kind of mega. The sheer scale of the fights that will take place in a third of the storm of the film is unbelievable. Battles in Return of the King will make the assault on Helm's Deep like a small skirmish. And he mentions he's going to have to change the rules for Fellbeasts. Having seen Return of the King, it's like they're not good enough. Yeah. So he made them in the Two Towers to be like mounts that you can fly on. But having now seen them in Return of the King, it's like, well, they're better than that. And he says that it's clearly the relationship, I guess, is better than it was for the Hobbit. But he says, bear in mind that at this point we're in November, December, and so the book's written for Return of the King. Reading a more up-to-date script, I found out that a few of the scenarios are slightly inaccurate in representing some of the scenes from the film. It might be a bit too late for making some of the changes, so you'll have to forgive us some minor inconsistencies between film and game. But we'll endeavour to fill any gaps in the future supplements, the Siege of Gondor and the Battle of Pelennor films. More and more, it feels like the Return of the King is so huge, it cannot be contained in one game, and the next two supplements will play a big part in the monumental task of completing it. And again, it's just refreshingly honest, I think.
Yeah.
There's just something really kind of yeah, they never said that for the Hobbit.
cards on the
When
table.
all the stuff we talked about in our Hobbit streams with Destination Smaug and the Unexpected, they just released it and was like, there you go, that's what you get. And it was like, why is it so weird? Where's this again? Yeah, well, we did it months in advance, and they've changed the script, and it's cool, and it'll be wrong, and we're sorry, but we'll do our best, and we'll make it better. And it's just lovely.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a kind of year of releasing the Two Towers, really. I'm desperate for a wee. Do you want to catch up on the chat, and then we'll
I'll jump in the chat. You go and have a piddle. Let's have a look. Where were we? Larry said, I skipped a comment and read a second one for context. Apologies. Benji says, guess I'll start it. How great is the Two Towers? It's fantastic. I mean, loads of fond memories. Not just start of my hobby life, but I spent a lot of quality time with my lad, painting with him, and that's how I got into it, which is well documented if you watch these streams for a while. But yeah, I look back on them times really fondly. Laurie says, I was saying I differentiate between Christmas movies and movies set at Christmas. Alas, my first proper rule set was the big blue one. That was like the Bible for so long, though, wasn't it? It was a good one. Because the Dragon says, I got the Two Towers box set and split the armies. My buddy got the Uruk-hai and I got the Rohirrim. Oh, shame. We played the first scenario from the book about a dozen times. Rambo Squirrel says, I was working at the shop in Chester at the time and having to run so many demo games with the box, we did a huge Helm's Deep game that took the whole very long day, I can imagine. I can remember that period just after Two Towers was released, because that's when Cole, my son, did start to watch. First off, it was just me and him. He just liked Lord of the Rings, the movies, and then obviously because I already had read the books and knew little bits and bobs about it, we were able to converse about it. But once we got that box set and started to play a few games with our own rules, he was really interested in actually, speaking to people of his own age and hanging out with people of his own age and going to Games Workshop in Manchester. And I used to drop him off on a Sunday because that was beginner days. I used to just drop him off, then I'd go around the Arndale Centre, go and do a bit of shopping, grab a bit of lunch, and then come back at the end of the day and pick him up. It was a great time, I thought, and there was just it felt like at that time when I walked into Manchester GW, everyone that was in there was into Lord of the Rings at that time. It was just a really, really good time, and I think that you still get that thing when you walk into a Games Workshop now, and there's no boxes on the shelves and people aren't really playing it. It's just a little bit sad. I think
they're a bit better now than they were.
They are. I don't blame GW. I mean, they're a business. I've said this a lot. Like, they're a business. They've got to appeal to the customers that are coming into the stores. And if they're only 40k in AOS players and basically Middle Earth players are only buying online, then that's what's going to happen.
You're right, though. I mean, whenever I go in and I see it, I'm always pleasantly surprised.
Yeah. Frederick says, same story for Two Towers as for the Fellowship for me. Was in kindergarten and didn't see it until much later. But Isengard became my first army when I started, and my first terrain pieces were Two Towers inspired. We were just saying, because the Dragons were saying that he split the box and he got the Rohirrim side. And like in hindsight, how those armies, I think more so the Uruk-hai because of just how awesome they are in game. But both of them armies, like you still see them on top tables around events now. Their models, it's crazy.
You know what's also fascinating? I didn't mention this. I did compare them, and the new starter sets are better value. I mean, everyone will moan about the price. Doesn't mean it doesn't mean they're cheaper. But if you look at this, so the starter set for the Two Towers was 40 quid. Yeah. And you got 12 Riders Rohan, 20 Uruks in the book, right? Yeah. The book was 20 quid. Yeah. The Riders Rohan for 12 would be 24. Mm-hmm. So that's 44 quid. And then I said the plastics were 12, right? There's another 24. So that's 68 quid. All right. So 40 quid. And you get the ruins as well. So the starter set is 40 quid. And the contents of it are worth 68 quid plus the ruins. Yeah. So you're getting about 50% of the value. Whereas now, like with the Osgiliath starter set, it's about double, isn't it? You know, same with the Pelennor one. So obviously cheaper, but I actually think you get more of a saving these days, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah, I mean, we'll talk about the new starter set on the starter set stream, hopefully. But I think it's great value. I mean, I'm looking at it now, just underneath my screen there, and I think it's awesome. I think it's really good. And I'm not being a shill. I'm not being a brown noser. I just think it's a great box. If I was coming into this hobby, I'd pick that box up and straight out of the box can play games. And I've got heroes, and I've got troops, and I've got terrain. I've got rulebook. I've got dice. I've got rulers. Happy days. Martin Slate says Star Wars dominates for me in the first half of the year. Lord of the Rings always feels Christmassy, as it always takes over after summer. Rory says painting all the Riders of Rohan badly at Christmas 2002. Got Heroes of Helm's Deep 2, but only painting Haldir and his pal today, 20 years later.
Awesome. So V-side. That's what we want, man.
It's class. Nathan T. Good evening, gents. Couldn't make it, but hope everyone has fun. Cheers, Nathan. Thanks for dropping in. Because the Dragon says, I remember being fascinated by the building in Helm's Deep bit in the back of the rulebook too. Yeah. I mean, I don't want to drag too much on it because it is a shorter stream and, you know, we get through the chat and it's getting on a bit already. But when you were talking about the White Dwarf articles there, and specifically when you mentioned the fact that they announced Battle Games in Middle-earth and the TV advert and things like that, I think there was at the time they probably didn't realise it, but there was a lot of things that happened at a specific time that contributed to people falling in love with Lord of the Rings strategy battle game so much. The fact that you had a magazine fortnightly that shown you that you can build terrain at home. You know, it's not something that's out of your reach. And we haven't got that now. And I just think that it helped people. It kind of held people's hands to become hobbyists who previously knew nothing about it. Like, because you yourself, you were a gamer anyway. You used to play Warhammer. I never did. And it always felt really weird to me. It felt really alien for a long time. But then magazines, once I started to build things, and I was like, oh, I can do this.
Do you know what's interesting about that?
Go on.
To pick up on something that I would have mentioned later, there is, in the Two Towers book, and I wouldn't have really thought about this, but the fact I was reading them both at the same time, there is a massive hobby section, a huge hobby section, about 50 pages long or something, that literally takes you through the entire process. And, it's gone. In this, I don't know, there's nothing.
No.
And I don't know if it's the same for Age of Sigmar anymore, but they just don't do it anymore. Now, it's not something that I'm kicking off about particularly, but I think they did it in The Hobbit, and it's since SBG came out, I think they haven't been doing it. And it's, I don't know, it's obviously a strategic decision by the company. It's like, right, we're not putting that material in there anymore. It's out there in other places. Maybe it's just not worth the time doing 30 pages when it's all out there on the internet. I don't really know, or we direct them towards Warhammer TV, whatever it is. But it was noticeable that there's a incredibly affectionate hobby section in that main Two Towers rulebook. Yeah. And there's obviously none of it in here. And I actually there's 4 taster armies in the back of this. And I was like, oh, this is in a way the stuff I'm most interested by, because it's new and it's different and stuff. But yeah, just an observation.
I think, and again, this is just my humble opinion, the fact that I can honestly say that maybe if it wasn't for Battle Games in Middle-earth and the One Ring forums, which the bit I was most drawn to all the time, the bit I went to was always to see what people were building, I maybe wouldn't be here now in this hobby. And I think that can't just be me. Yeah. So I think maybe they're missing a trick, because I always felt that it made the hobby feel bigger and richer.
Well, it makes it feel like a hobby rather than a game.
Yeah, exactly. So I just think, it felt like it appealed to me, because the competitive side of gaming and building armies and winning wasn't the reason why and still isn't the reason why I love this game. It's the hobby side of it. And
it'd be interesting, because if they still did those Q&A seminars, that strikes me like the sort of question you could ask and they might answer, to say just like, not kicking off, but what is the reason that stuff isn't in the rule books anymore?
Yeah.
And it'd be interesting. Anyone who plays 40k or Age of Sigmar, let us know. Like, I don't know, is it in their rule books? They have those big hobby sections?
Do you know what? The thing that I can say about that, and it's funny because, and again, I know I'm branching off. I was at when I ran the Hammer and Rock event a few weeks ago. In the hall was a big 40k event going on, and from speaking because when I was I generally do it when I'm at Element Games, and I'll talk to anyone. I'll go around and I'll talk to anyone about anything, hobby, painting, events, whatever. And I was talking to the TO and I was talking to a few of the players whilst my games were going on, and I got the impression it was I can't remember the name of it, but it was quite a prestigious 40k event. It was the tickets were £65 for the weekend, so it wasn't a cheap one. It was a 2-day event. I don't know if that's the going rate for 40k events. I don't know what the difference between 40k and Middle Earth events price wise is, but the terrain, it was advertised. I think it was Sam Page. I don't know if he's in the chat or not. I've not seen him. Sam Page told me that it was advertised as some of the best terrain at 40k events. Right now, this isn't me being bitchy or anything like that. There was nothing wrong with the terrain, but it was all basically 3D printed. Every table looked the same, and there was no detail on the terrain. So it was just shapes of buildings with like windows cut out. And all they'd done is they'd like Zenithal highlighted it. So it was grey, so it was like black at the bottom up to light grey at the top. Nothing on it, and it just looks so bland. And I'm just thinking, are they sticking us in the same bracket as 40k and OS players who maybe are not as fussed about beauty on a board?
Yeah, maybe in the era of 3D printing, you don't need the scenery bit as much. People aren't building as much scenery,
I don't know. It's a weird one. I would still love to see it. I think
we'll have a look in a bit.
You can 3D print, and I'm not against 3D printing. I've seen some great stuff out there that's 3D printing. It's like movie accurate, and I love it. But there's something about, and you'll get this because you do it a lot. You're doing it for Throne of Skulls. Dan Collister's doing it for Throne of Skulls, and I'm sure many people out. There's something about building something from scratch with bits of shit that when it's done, you just have this feeling of achievement and satisfaction, and you're proud of it, and it looks awesome. That you can't replicate that with 3D printing. You just can't. I don't care what you say.
I'm grinning my head off because you're right. I do. I'm holding something in my hand. Every part of my fibre wants to show this, but I can't. All right, but it'll be in the next hobby vlog, which will be in like 2 weeks. Right, I've got something for Throne of Skulls, where something I needed is available perfectly as a 3D print. It's amazing, and it's cheap. And I was like, that's what I need. Mm-hmm. And I don't think on here I'm going to get called a shill, but event, at some point I will. But it's not about being a shill. It's about the fact I'm going to a GW event, and it's going to be quite prominent. It's not like a barrel. I'm not talking about a barrel or a treasure chest or a bench where I don't think there's any difference between 3D printing and like the old,
something specific.
People like would make metal ones, like Tom Rillian would make metal. I don't see a difference there at all. But it's a specific design from Weta. It's clear. It's the sort of thing that GW might release. They haven't released, and I imagine it's the sort of thing that they've seen online. Go, I don't like that.
Yeah.
And so, because I'm taking this to Throne of Skulls for a GW event, I don't want to do that because I actually think the whole point, the reason I go to this effort is to try and get a Best Army nomination.
Yeah.
It's the sort of thing that might make me think, well, that might make me eligible. And I also, genuinely, I do like the company. I do like the people. And I'm like, I don't want to kind of take the piss, really.
Yeah.
If I'm going to your event, maybe when I'm done, I'll rip my crap version off and put that on.
Yeah.
But for that event, no. And so I was in this situation, right, where exactly what I want, which was very specific detailed, was available, and I couldn't buy it, and I had to build it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I used?
What?
A Lego.
Nice.
So I was just looking around the house for like construction materials, and so and I was like, is that stupid? And I'm staring at it right now, going, it might still be stupid. But the combination of polyfiller and textured paint and a paint scheme, I'm hoping does the work. So my Throne of Skulls has got an approximation of something made out of Lego on it that you could buy a much better version of 3D printed. But I feel very proud of this now. Like you say, I've built it with my hands.
That's the thing.
God knows
that's
this doesn't exist anywhere else.
That's the thing. And like I say, I am. Damien will tell you, if you don't know me, like I'm all for 3D printing. I've fully accepted that 3D printing is part of this hobby now, whether you like it or not. It's part of the hobby. It's always going to be there. And I've got plenty of stuff that's 3D printed. And I'm fine with it. But when you build something from scratch and you've finished, it's a different fit, and it might just be a personal thing. It might not matter to other people. But if I look at, I think you've mentioned it before. Yeah. If I look at something that somebody's built, and look at something that somebody's printed, 2 pieces of terrain, and I might be judging best army or best theme or something. They get extra points because it's scratch built for me.
And we have to say, we had this conversation a while back, that means, as opposed to someone printing it, we're not talking about the creation of the designer is different. You know, someone who's gone to the thought of designing it as a 3D print and put that is like
very different.
From scratch.
It's very different. Yeah.
No, quite.
I'm not against 3D printing. I use it. It's fine. But scratch building things is just a step above for me. And I just think not having that in the books for me is a real shame. I think they're missing a trick, and I think that could keep people in the hobby rather than the ones who just dip a toe in and then leave. It's not going to do it for everyone, but it keeps people in. You know, a couple of pages. That's all it needs. A couple of pages. Here's how you build. I don't know, whatever it is. What do we think the next supplement's going to be?
Tariel's Adventures.
Here's how you build a tree for Tariel to slide down. There you go. Just anything. I think they're missing a trick. I think they should have it.
Tariel a tree to slide down.
Anyway, what is it? I digress. Larry says 200 points of good and 1 Smaug. When Fellowship came out, the toys were in shops early enough for me to read The Hobbit and Fellowship. The movie came out.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Rob says, good night, chaps. Lovely spending time with you two. Towers in commas, we're here. In conversation about kitchens and Frozen the musical. Hopefully see you live in the next one. You too, dude. Frederick says, what the hell did they do? No respect for the source material. Tolkien spinning in his grave. No elves at Helm's Deep.
This is it.
Frederick says he's enjoying the Helm's Deep dive so far. Oh, jumpy jump. Dan says, the GW forums got shut down years ago. The 40k want, my word, a sewer, and we think rocks is bad. What's the Penguin's favourite ice cream flavour? Asked Larry.
Come on, Steve, we can get this.
Fish food.
Fish food could be. Would that count? That's quite specific, isn't it?
Don't know. The answer's not there. I'll come to it later, so yeah, you can have a think on it. Martin Slate says, lads, due to demand for Throne of Skulls, do you think it would be beneficial for the hobby stroke event to actually have the Battles in Middle-earth event, but mid-year? 2 Throne of Skulls style events. Clearly, there's a demand. I think there is a demand, and I think they both do well. I think it's just more a scheduling thing for GW, for the events team.
This is going to be a weird hot take for me. There are currently 4 Middle-earth events on the schedule. Now, there's GTs, doubles, there's teams, and there's Throne of Skulls. And I think I would, because of the point I'm at in my life, that's pretty much all I can get to. Yeah. I think I'd rather have the 4, knowing that if you got a ticket, everyone's going to be there, than the potential for only half the people being there, I guess.
Yeah. I think it would still sell out. I think it would sell out.
Yeah, of course.
I think it would sell out. But yeah, I'm kind of with you. I think that
I just love Throne of Skulls. It's like the Lord of the Rings thing. It's like Christmas. It reminds me of Christmas. I get so excited about it, and it's just a really big, cool, festive event. I love it.
Bring back the seminars, man. Bring back the seminars.
I think bring back the streaming. I'm gutted by that. They haven't done it since COVID, but Adam and Nick's streaming where they wore festive jumpers and they had a festive snacks platter was a huge part of that event.
Yeah.
And it's just, I really, really miss that.
Because the Dragon says, I remember this era of White Dwarf and going straight to the Middle-earth content each time. It's all I ever did because I had no interest in any of the other games. Julian says, I resisted buying anything after the Fellowship, but as soon as I saw Aomer's charge at Helm's Deep, I started collecting Aomer and 3 Royal Guard were the first purchases. Remco says, the Two Towers book was my first book and loved the content. On December 5th, 2002, I got my first box set with Urukai, and that was the start of my 20-year journey into this beautiful hobby.
I thought you remembers the date.
Yeah, it's crazy. Martin Slate says, did any of your wargaming factions carry over? I know Damien was big on Wood Elves. I was big on High Elves, but I did notice being introduced to Orcs in Lord of the Rings, but taking an interest after in Warhammer Fantasy Battle. So I think he's saying,
really.
because if you played Elves, did you want to play Elves in Lord of the Rings kind of thing?
My fantasy armies were Wood Elves and Vampire Counts, and I think it's the other way. I played Wood Elves because it wasn't a Lord of the Rings game, and I liked Legolas. So I played Wood Elves because they had tree men, they had Ents, and they had eagles. And I played them to be like Lord of the Rings. And then at the time when it came out, as I've said before, I didn't really collect it. I collected the Fellowship models, never painted them. And it wasn't until sort of 2010 that I actually started collecting for real.
For reals.
But no, there wasn't any. I couldn't say there's anything because of fantasy.
I wasn't into wargaming prior to this, so it's non-applicable to me. Matt says, I used to love all the what's that say? Doc Butcher conversion clinics in White Dwarf. What was
he was an orc. It was like an orc medic called Doc Butcher, and it was like conversion articles. Conversion
clinics in White Dwarf. So any conversion hobby articles, I was all over. Tom W says, I found the old articles on DIY terrain and hobbying to be essential to my enjoyment of this hobby. I agree. If they were to kick off a recurring blog encouraging you to develop skills, I would throw them at dollars. Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure what the thinking is. Yeah, I don't know. Martin says they were also playing 3-hour rounds.
Larry for the GT.
Yeah, Larry calls you a shill. Standard. Because the Dragon says, Peachy of GW said recently that they moved away from including terrain building from scratch to just showing off the kits GW made to sell those kits. Maybe why they have tailed off doing it. Peachy previously of GW, I should say. Yeah, it's a funny one, isn't it? Because like the people who make the decisions are people who possibly, dare I say it, don't play the games, sat at a desk and just like deal with numbers all day. And I understand that from a marketing point of view. But at the same time, if you're selling a Am and Hen beautiful piece of scenery like they do, showing you how to build trees to go around it would be great. Would be great.
What's interesting, I get that argument for the terrain stuff. I do. I can see the argument, don't teach them how to scratch build it, we'll sell it instead. But when we look for that 2 towers, but most of it isn't about the terrain. Most of it is about painting and modelling, which that doesn't really apply to.
And that's fine. Them saying don't teach them how to build it, we'll sell it to them. That's fine. We'll build everything then. But you don't have kits, and you're not going to have kits for many years to come for a lot of stuff that we'd love to see on our table. We're not asking you to show us how to build Mediceld, although that would be fantastic.
Actually, you'll find there's a part work that did.
Just general, little just hobby bits. It'd be awesome. Rory says, Peachy, new channel is great, really good insight into all things GW. I've not watched any of it yet. I've
watched
just
a couple of them now. Is it the painting process or something they're called? I can't remember.
I'm not sure. I've not watched anything.
He's been very forthcoming, which I'm sort of surprised how much he's allowed to say or how much he's not worried about saying things.
Gary George says, the hobby side, painting and terrain creation has always been the part of SBG that I love the most. The Battle Games Middle Earth terrain tutorials were my favourite bits of the mag. Me too. Because the Dragon says, yeah, been fascinating watching, to Rory. Martin Slade says, I find my crucial piece for my army board from the garden centre. Mrs. won't let me forget it came from a trip I didn't want to go on, but now I'm on the hunt during every trip to the shops.
I look forward to seeing it, man.
Dan says, best use of Lego I've seen in such a long time. Genuinely laughed out loud. Brilliant.
Thanks, dude.
Ashley Fisher says, the Fellowship and Two Towers journey books are the perfect mix of games, painting and terrain building for me. Brilliant. Would love another book like that now. Yeah, I totally agree.
I like how he just said those two as well, because Return of the King is, for whatever reason, just a step down. Yeah, it's really interesting.
Yeah. Frederick says the terrain stuff, etc., is super important. Even if you end up playing with lots of grey minis and try to go super competitive, that's not really what makes it look interesting in the beginning. Larry shouts pistachio.
Oh,
Penguins.
good. Pistachio, yeah. I wouldn't have got that.
I wouldn't have got that. I think fish food is better. Frederick says visuals, terrain, paint jobs, and some extended theme, Lord of the Rings in general, narrative scenarios, etc. is super important to get people interested as opposed to game mechanics. I agree. For a long period of time, and I'm talking a couple of years, I was more interested in the pretty pictures than them talking about rules. For a long period of time.
I don't know because you couldn't read.
Pretty much, yeah. I couldn't read till I was 32. Scott Newman says, I love 3D printed things, but building terrain from foam and crap gives you a feeling you can't replicate. My armies on parade board is foam out of the loft and plastered, slapped in paint.
Asbestos.
Frederick says,
gives it that Dunharrow glow.
People don't go... What the hell does that say? People don't go, and then he's got, have you seen Flirdelbergelberg? It's a tabletop war game where archers can seek cover behind terrain and shoot back on a 5+, and then your mate's like, the F-Inf F is a 5+. Frederick, you've lost me there, my friend.
I think he might be saying people don't get into games because the rules mechanics are cool. They get into games because
it looks cool.
It's like, it's Lord of the Rings, whatever. I think it's where he's going.
Paint and Ulrich are now about to paint some of the display board, says Carl. Frederick says, best dude, have you seen this Lord of the Rings game? Gets people in. Yes. The painting phase, says Dan.
Painting phase, that's the one. Yeah.
The painting phase, made by Pat and Jeff, both sound folk. Rory says, yeah, painting phase. He is so candid about it all. That's it, mate. That's it. Should we?
Caught up, have you?
Caught up, mate. Yeah. What I'm going to do, because I haven't done it, I need to set up the Facebook thing.
So
I'll do that now.
Keep the chat talking to us. If we try now, it was lovely to hear what you think, but try and keep your chatter talking about this version of the game, or if you remember playing this version of the game, or rules or bits you liked about this game, whatever, and we'll come back to it. So this is the rulebook that came out. It's the second edition. It was really interesting to see. After a year, they just did the whole thing again. It was like, yep. So you get a brand new starter set, brand new rulebook. It's a year later. People would probably be kicking off now, new edition after a year or whatever. But I guess for 40 quid with the models, you were getting the book free. I don't know. Who knows what the internet's thought at the time. But kind of mega. And we talked about where you were at this point. I went off to uni, got these white dwarfs, and I can remember flicking through those issues, like particularly the AMA one, I think it was. It was one of the ones wherever the Uruks were released. This one. No, it must be this. Yeah, it's this one. So this issue, which is White Dwarf 277, which is the one that coincided with the movies being released. And I remember getting this, sitting at uni, being very excited about the Two Towers film, and seeing like this, seeing Helm's Deep, seeing the Warriors of Rohan, and seeing all these bits, and genuinely thinking, this could be a game now. They're saying they're trying to make it a game. It was the first time I was like, and it wasn't a happy feeling, because as I said, I bought these models, hadn't had any time to paint them. I was still painting fantasy the year before, like for the the Fellowship and some goblins. But I was like, okay, well maybe I'll paint up some Lord of the Rings stuff. And now I remember me seeing that and thinking, oh no, it's it's a real game. Like, it was the first time where it's like you looked at that, the Fellowship starter set's kind of useless, like warrior goblins against elves of the Last Alliance and men and Numen or whatever. It's never replicated. But I genuinely remember looking at it again. Well, that's how you do it now. That's how you get an army. Look, there's cheap plastic Uruks with a bunch of elites to support them, and there's cheap plastic Rohan Cav, and there's cheap plastic warriors. You get two massive armies and fight, and you saw how the game would develop. And I never got any of it. So I never bought a single model from that era. I got the White Dwarfs and I looked at it thinking that looks mega, but I'm at uni. I haven't painted the 3 Treekin I bought 6 months ago for my Wood Elf army. I'm not going to paint 100 Urukai, and that's kind of when I dropped out of it. But I clearly kept getting White Dwarfs and staring at them longingly. And so this, I didn't get the starter set. This, I think I actually got this really weirdly when we won a quiz at Ardacon, the GW quiz, and the prize was a big stack of the books. And I went, I haven't got the 2 towers, and so I picked that up from there. So it's not mine, and I never got that starter set, and I was following it, via White Dwarf, but that's kind of when I dropped out of the hobby basically. So it's a weirdly melancholy feeling for me this period. But yeah, it's cool. I've made some little notes as we flick through here. The designer's notes that are in that White Dwarf and they're in the Best of 2 Towers, they talk about the kind of major changes. I'm not going to go through every tiny little change here because that would be tedious, but by all means in the comments if there's anything you particularly liked, put in there. But the big ones they added were the siege rules, the huge new siege section. I haven't gone and compared that to Rohan at War to see how similar they are, but they introduced a massive section for fighting sieges, obviously inspired by Helm's Deep. They introduced more rules for cavalry. They didn't introduce cavalry. We had cavalry in the Fellowship of the Ring edition, but it's where the idea of the 2 attacks on the charge and the knockdown comes from. And they basically have a cavalry section for the first time in this, whereas before they only had like in the movement section, it was like if you're on a horse, you move further, and in the shooting section, it was like if you're shooting at a horse, you roll a dice, and on a 1, 2, or 3, 4, 5, or 6, you hit one or the other, that sort of thing. But it's the first time that they have a cavalry section. They also introduced pikes because of the Uruks, which is cool, and they also introduced throwing weapons, which is the sort of thing that people just think was in there forever. But the throwing weapons come in there for the first time ever for the Riders Rohan and for Gimli, etc. And then there's lots of little changes, but I think those are the big ones. Those are the big changes they made to it. But as I said, by all means, let me know in the chat. The photography in it is beautiful throughout. Like every shot is. Bear in mind they've only had a year, right? But all of the artwork, it's not Moria Goblins anymore. All of the. It might seem obvious, but every little example has been redone with Warriors of Rohan and Isengard models and all that sort of stuff, which is cool. So there's a lot of love gone into it, and they made some minor tweaks here and there and stuff, but that was the big stuff. If we then get to the heroes, essentially the profiles, and again, there's a couple I want to talk about, but I'm not going to go too much into these because a lot of these we've looked at when we do our hero deep dives or whatever. But what's really interesting about this is they only put in. They made a call to only put in the profiles that appear in the 2 towers. So if you imagine this is the new edition, as far as I know, they stopped selling the Fellowship edition, right? But they only put in the profiles that were there. So what you don't get is Elendil's not in here, for example, and Isildur's not in here, and Gil-galad's not in here, and that sort of stuff. Which obviously means, whilst they're still selling the models, but the profiles weren't available. And digging through White Dwarf, I actually found the article in sort of September, October, where they basically apologise and they say this was a mistake. Return of the King will contain everything. But what's really nuts about it, as I was going through it, is it's not even consistent. So in here, like you don't get Gandalf the Grey, for example, you only get Gandalf the White, that kind of thing. But you get Sauron. Sauron's in it, and the Balrog's in it. And I can't remember all of them. I don't make a note of all of them, but it's that kind of thing where it's like, hang on, so some of the, I don't know, the more iconic ones are more expensive, but then they get rid of Gil-galad, so you can do Sauron, but you can't.
Sounds like it was just an error. Maybe this missed pages, something like
that. I mean, they say it was intentional, but it almost seems like one of those things where they kind of, someone might have pulled them almost arbitrarily and went, let's do these ones, this one, and then someone went, hang on, doesn't that mean he? Oh God, no, it's got to go to Prince Mora. Just go with what you've got, or whatever. So that you get a wit. So like Lurtz isn't in here, for example. Lurtz is removed because he dies, but the Balrog who dies is in here, and that sort of stuff. So that's all kind of a bit weird, or whatever. And I don't believe there's a cave troll in here, for example. Evil warriors, Moria Goblin, Orc Warrior, Uruk-hai, Berserker. Oh no, there is a cave troll. Yeah, I think I was coming at it from the other way, saying why is the cave troll in here, and Gil-galad's not, or whatever. And even the cave troll is frustrated about it. Why? So yeah, that's kind of weird, but again, it was a whole new, it's a whole new game system taken off, and they were probably making up as they went, essentially. I've got a little note of Gollum, which is the fantastic Gollum profile. We haven't got to Gollum, but he's free. His race, they put race after it. His race is Gollum, my precious, which is great. And Gollum can be included in the evil player's force. If the ring bearer is in the opposing side, no points are played for him. He's free. He's positioned. He's deployed once both sides are deployed. No good model can shoot or strike bows at him. Gollum is always controlled entirely by the player who has priority. And if Gollum attacks and slays the ring bearer, he automatically puts on the ring when his opponent is killed. Once Gollum puts on the ring, he will run away and will never be heard of again. It's just wacky and cool.
Yeah.
I kind of like it. We get a profile for Sharku. We get a profile for Grishnak. We don't get a profile for Ugluk. I think that's weird in terms of their prevalence in the text. But again, maybe it's to do with the version of the scripts. Like, Grishnak has more of a role. They wanted to do the Grishnak model to be attacking Merry and Pippin, I guess. Maybe Ugluk, he doesn't seem like much. He's just an orc with a few lines, I guess, in the script. I don't know.
Yeah.
We still have Uruk-hai warriors. So we don't have scouts and warriors. We have defense 5 warriors who can get a shield.
Yeah.
So these are all the same models. You can use your plastics and your scouts from the previous game completely interchangeably. And then we move on to the scenarios. And there's a wonderful thing here that basically says good are going to win. As players gain experience, we find this is about narrative scenarios. We find that they become quite adept at using the special abilities of the good heroes. As there are so many good heroes, and because they're so impressively heroic, it tends to disadvantage the evil side. Although there are evil heroes, their abilities are rather more limited or specialized than the good heroes. Scenarios have been designed so that most players will find them reasonably well balanced when played. But as players become more adept, the evil side will find it harder and harder to win. There are 2 ways to make up for this. Crucially, one of them is not design your game better. A good way of ensuring balance is to play twice and swap sides.
Yeah. So
that each player gets to represent good. Each player will get spanked once. This is a rather good thing to do anyway. No one likes to play the bad guy all the time. I don't think that's true.
No, that's not true.
I think Ed's years and years on the Felby circuit would disagree with that, and my years on the Isengard circuit. Another way of rebalancing the game is to make things tougher for the good guys. Either make the objective tougher for the good side, or make the evil side more potent by providing it with additional troops. An experienced good player can take on at least twice the number of evil troops given in the scenarios. I don't think that's true.
Have they played this game?
I know. And it's interesting at the time. Bear in mind, we don't have Heroic Strike either, so it's kind of true. But it's weird again. It's weirdly forthcoming. At this point, going, yeah, good are just better. Oh, anyway, enjoy. Sorry. We'll try harder next year. It'd be interesting tracking this through to see at what edition of the game that got removed. But what I thought was really interesting about this is to look at the scenarios. So we've already heard his little designer's notes about saying what he had to do for the Return of the King scenarios. But it's to see what these scenarios look like from early scripts. And it's quite interesting. So the first one you get is just a kind of meeting engagement to get you playing the game. The second one is the Wrath of Rohan. It's the kind of classic Aemma charging against the orcs and
the best of wraths.
Classic Wrath. And in the participants, we get Grishnak and Ugluk, open brackets. He's a normal Uruk-hai captain equipped with armor, shield, and sword. Poor Ugluk. So Ugluk is there, but he's just a captain. And you get 10 Uruk-hai with sword and shield. And this is the kind of thing I was mentioning. If you look at the picture, they're the plastic Uruk-hai. So they don't even get their metal scout models out. They're completely interchangeable about this point, which is kind of cool. But yeah, it's kind of cool. They're only rushing on from one side. I think now they rush on from both sides. But Merry and Pippin have to escape into Fangor. Cool stuff. We then get When Wargs Attack, which is about the kind of Warg attack scene. Harmer's fresh in everyone's memory, right? On the good side is Theoden, Aragorn, Legolas, all mounted on horses, and Gimli, together with 4 riders of Rohan. No Harmer.
Poor
Not
Harmer.
even Gamling. Gamling doesn't even get to play.
Chris has got it.
Yeah, absolutely. Against 20 Warg Riders and Sharku. And what's quite cool about this is they're really big on this big cliff being on it. You see this? You see this big Z-shaped cliff?
Yeah.
They say you have to include this, and it's meant to be 4 inches high. And I wonder if this is them reading that script and, Aragorn goes off the cliff.
Yeah.
Who knows what version of the script it was, but clearly a cliff was important.
Cliff there, yeah.
And they're very, very clear on that. And it's basically recon. So you've got those 4 heroes, Theoden, Aragorn, Legolas, and Gimli, 4 Riders Rohan against 21 Wild Riders, and 6 Wild Riders have to get off the opposite table edge. I'm not gonna lie, I think that sounds mega. I think that sounds really good fun. We've talked in the past about that idea of just gambling prone and dying in the middle, and they have to kill 2. But that's a really, really cool scenario, and it's actually one that I think would be quite fun to give a
bash.
Give a go now. And what's quite nice is they actually somehow predicted you'd get into this and included a picture of you.
Cheers, man.
Scenario 4 is ambush in Ithilien. It's Faramir's time to shine. Tell me what happens. What does Faramir and his rangers attack, Steve?
Is it a Mummock?
I think there's actually 2 there.
Mm-hmm.
And what are on the Mummock? What are their enemies? Haradrim and 2 Mummocks.
Mm-hmm.
On the evil side, it's 3 orc captains on foot with armor, 10 orcs with sword and shield, 5 orcs with spear, 5 orcs with 2-handed weapons, 10 orcs with bows, and 5 wild riders containing throwing spears and shields.
Is there an elephant-shaped cliff?
The evil player may also include Gollum if he wants to. Against Frodo, Sam, Faramir, Damrod. Damrod's in this. Damrod has a profile. Madril doesn't. Ugluk doesn't. Damrod gets to play.
Who is Damrod?
Damrod? What, really? He's the dark-haired one. But you're right. I don't think he has lines.
You didn't read all the thread, did you?
You what?
Never mind.
Oh, I know. I know what you're talking about. Yeah, indeed. The internet's an angry place, isn't it?
Who even is Damrod?
But there is a note in here, to their credit. This scenario is based on the exploits of Faramir and his rangers of Ithilien. But we have changed the protagonist from evil men to orcs to allow you to use the current Two Towers model range. And ignored the elephants. Which is, fair enough.
Yeah.
It's one of those things, again, like...
They've got to make it work.
It's not a mistake. They're just going... I don't know. It's weird. I would have thought these days they just wouldn't include that scenario at that point. But they've gone, no, we'll do so. We're making Faramir. We're making the Rangers. They need to have a scenario. We'll just have to swap 2 massive elephants and a bunch of men for orcs. Scenario 5 is the Deeping Wall, which is kind of what you expect. But this is where you got this book on the 3rd of November, and it includes Haldir and 8 Wood Elf warriors with bows. And you went, what? It bloody doesn't, Peter. Back to Lord of the Rings with you. I did find it interesting that in all their photographs for this, from this point on, everyone has a picture. There's not a single elf in any of them, apart from Legolas, which is kind of interesting. So Haldir and his elves don't appear in any of the photography at Helm's Deep. But all that said, there's a cool picture here, which again, imagine reading this in November and going, this is in the shooting section. It's a massive picture of elves. And it says, ranks of deadly elven bowmen prepared to defend Helm's Deep.
Which they do.
So it's possible that photography was able to be dropped in, like stills were able to be dropped in after the photography was done for the book. Something like that, maybe. Don't know. But something interesting. But the Deeping Wall's cool, except I'm pretty sure, I'm not drunk, am I? This is backwards. You got Hornburg and a Deeping Wall.
I can't really see it on that screen. But I'll tell you what I need you to do. I need you to crack on while I go for a blue break.
Yeah, I think it's certainly, and again, there's an outside chance this is being mirrored on your screen, but as long as it's not mirrored, these are steps. Oh God, these are steps here. So this is inside. Yeah. And you got the Hornburg down here. Yeah. And the Deeping Wall going along here.
Oh yeah, it's the wrong way.
It's the wrong way around, right?
Yeah, it's the wrong way around.
Again, that could be based on their kind of set plans or whatever.
Yeah. Right, you carry on.
Love to.
Just because we can't afford to waste any time, I'll be back in a minute.
Next one is, so that was just about attacking a gateway. You've got 30 Uruks, 2 Uruk-hai bomb teams. No explanation of what a bomb team is. They can have up to 10 ladders, basically attacking the deepen wall. Cool objectives. 10 or more models either on the deepen walls or on the good side of the deepen wall. So fairly standard. Next one is the gateway, which is the assault on the assault on the gateway. See, this is great. The description: the evil forces launch a full-scale assault upon the gateway of Helm's Deep, defended by Theoden and a mere handful of warriors participants. On the good side, there's Gamling, Aragorn, Legolas, and Gimli, 8 warriors of Rohan, and 2 warriors of Rohan with bows. No Theoden. Defending as he does from afar, defended by Theoden by telling other people to kill them. And this is, again, it's another Escalade one. They still get siege ladders. They get loads and loads of Uruks. And Evil Side wins 15 models on the battlements by the end of the game. And there's also, what's quite nice is, I think the first time in SBG history we get the idea of a link campaign that they suggest doing the Deeping Wall, having the heroes rush into this one and maintain their might, will, and fate, which is kind of cool. We then get Theoden rides out. I didn't make a note on this one. Interesting that they make the castle square. You see that? That's the inner keep. They're very, very specific. You know, they've got their, oh God, this is so hard to do when it's mirrored. But you've got this idea here of like the inner keep, and then you ride down here to the gate, which is just like in the film, except it's all curved, obviously, in the film. And they actually specifically say, for this game, we've deliberately chosen to represent the walls of Helm's Deep using straight wall sections rather than curves. Curves are hard to make or improvise, which I think is quite cool. It slightly goes against the fact that they released a Helm's Deep set with annoyingly unhelpful curves, like famously irritating curved walls, when people might have liked the straight walls, I guess. But yeah, whatever. And this one just looks ludicrously hard for good, I thought. So it's Theoden, Gamling, Aragorn, Legolas mounted, Gimli, and 4 riders Rohan. That's it. And then what you basically get is kind of, I think, is it 5 Uruks, 1 Berserker. Now, what's the evil sets up 2 halves, 1 Uruk captain. So about 9 Uruks set up about here, 9 Uruks set up about here. And then every turn, 5 Uruks come on. And they've got to fight their way through. Some of those Uruks have crossbows, can stand on the battlements and go, pachoo, pachoo, pachoo. And the evil side wins if it kills 1 or more heroes. 1 or more heroes. And you've got Gamling, Theoden, and Legolas in there. That all seem remarkably shootable. So that one seems quite tough to me, to be honest. But again, rides out. And then finally you get the relief of Helm's Deep, which is Theoden, Gamling, Aragorn, Éomer, Gandalf, and Legolas. 24 riders of Rohan, 10 warriors of Rohan with shield and throwing spears, and then 74 Uruks. So it's a massive, massive game. Really interesting that, again, the Royal Guard aren't released at this point. So the causeway here, where they ride out from, it's Theoden, Gamling, Aragorn, and Legolas on horses, and 10 warriors of Rohan. So the Royal Guard that come out are represented by warriors of Rohan on foot. I don't know why you wouldn't use Riders of Rohan. It doesn't, you know, when you're using 24 Riders of Rohan to come in with Éomer and Gandalf, it feels to me like, why not just, if you're going to go 24, why not say 30? Don't really know, but that's kind of cool. And again, here, this is the same sort of thing we talked about at the start of Scenarios. It's a big battle, one that plays well with larger forces, and a points match chosen from the force list. The evil victory conditions have been arranged so that the evil side stands a chance of winning simply by taking down the good heroes. As in a prolonged fight, the evil side cannot realistically hope to overcome the combined good force. The evil side, I just don't agree with that. I know heroic strike's an issue, but I would rate 60 Uruks, 20 crossbows, and 10 berserkers. That's 60 Uruks total, 20 of whom with crossbows, plus 10 berserkers, plus 4 captains. I think they'd rinse 24 riders of Rohan.
Your bitches.
I think they'd destroy them. They'd fight for all their pikes and all that. Obviously, Aragorn and... It's really only Aragorn. Give me... It doesn't seem to me to be quite as terrifying for evil as you might think. We also get Osgiliath, which I was kind of surprised to see in here. They're going, what the hell's happening here? We've got Frodo, Sam, Faramir, Damrod. We get ranges of Gondor, 8 Gondor warriors with spears and shields, 8 Gondor warriors with bows. Do you know what Gondor warriors are at this point?
Gondor warriors.
Numenorians.
Oh, yeah.
They're Numenorians. We don't have plastic warriors in this tiff. We've got the ranges now. So that's what you have to use for this. There's no like metals at this point. It's going back to your old Warrior of Gondor profile from Fellowship. And then just tons and tons of Uruks. And this board is massive. This is 6 foot.
Jesus.
6 foot. Like, and it says this one doesn't really matter. Just and it specifically says make sure it's 6 foot because it's been planned like that. Well, all right. God. And it is 60 orcs in this. So this is where they've dialed down. Granted, they haven't got the 240 orcs of Fellowship, but 60 metal orcs is still pretty good. I've put massive table on here. It says Gilead, so maybe this was working in league with Battle Games in Middle Earth. So there'd be a massive table for you to put your massive bridge on. And get this, the good side wins if both Frodo and Sam reach the culvert and escape. The culvert's in the middle, got a little sewer culvert in the middle. The evil side wins if it can slay any 2 good heroes before Frodo and Sam have escaped. The evil side also wins if Frodo is slain. So they have to kill 2 good heroes. And again, you've got Frodo, Sam, Faramir, Damrod, a captain of Gondor. It just seems very achievable. I think it seems very achievable. But often throughout in these scenarios, you're seeing a lot where a lot of the objectives are killing a couple of the good heroes, essentially. And then finally, and I was really surprised by this, you get scenario 10, Isengard. Which is particularly weird given that they don't do the showdown, or they probably were at that point, but it gets moved to the start of Return of the King. And they actually say this. There's almost an apology. This scenario is inspired by the attack on Isengard by Treebeard. Remember, they don't have Ents at the moment. They've only got Treebeard. And Saruman's final confrontation with Gandalf and the army of King Theoden. Although based upon events that happened in the Two Towers movie, the game combines the earlier attack of the Ents with the later confrontation between Gandalf and Saruman, which didn't happen. The result is a fairly complex game involving some diverse and interesting troop types and a large selection of heroes. So you get Aragorn, Legolas, Gandalf, Theoden, and Gamling all on horses, Gimli, Merry, Pippin, and Treebeard against 20 Uruks, 10 Uruks with crossbows, and 5 Berserkers. And this kind of weirdly cool board, we got Orthanc up here, a big defensive wall, and a dried out stream, which seems largely irrelevant. They warn you about trying to build Orthanc. It will be impractical to make a scale model of the tower, so we suggest using a tower about 300 millimeters tall with a flat roof. It'll serve to give an impression of the mighty structure. Rain might pool on the top there. And this again looks absurdly hard. The objectives are wins if it kills 2 or more good heroes, including either Gandalf or Saruman. Sorry, Gandalf or Aragorn. And they've got 10 Uruks with crossbow, 20 Uruks, and 5 Berserkers. And the good force contains Legolas, Gandalf, Theoden, Gamling, Merry, and Pippin.
Pew pew.
Yeah, they've got 10 crossbows who can deploy on a castle wall. And they're going to have to trot. And here, presumably, there are all the Uruks. You get shot to hell. Just seems incredibly hard. And bear in mind as well, in this version of the game, Saruman
depends on the player, doesn't it?
Saruman sits up here. He can sorcerer's blast anyone on the table from anywhere because of his Palantir rule, and it says that. The evil side's chief asset is the high strength values of the Uruk-hai. Try to use the crossbows to inflict wounds on Gandalf or Aragorn and use up their fate and might points. The Palantir allows Saruman to blast the good heroes no matter where they are, not only causing damage but delaying their advance. And Grima can deploy with Aragorn. You've got Grima who can deploy with Aragorn. Grima should try to follow Aragorn around, whispering poisonous, dispiriting things in his ear and forcing him to spend might at double rate.
Yeah, but move 1. Aragorn's away from Grima, isn't he? He's mounted.
I don't think he's mounted for long. Did you not hear about the army of crossbows?
Don't all good side goes first in scenarios.
Yes. They're still 24 inches away from the castle they have to get through. I don't know, it just seems very tough to me. But yeah, that's the end of scenarios. So I thought they were surprisingly accurate, to be honest. It did show the signs of a really good working relationship with the production company in terms of what they got. And then, as I said, I'll flick through this, but look, miniatures, assembling metal models, modeling tip for the tabs, cutting off extra bits of the tabs to make them fit the bases, glue, fillers, green stuff, painting the models, paint stations, mugs, looking after brushes. Look at this. I love this. I call this Old Faithful. Where is he? Look at that brush. Like that.
I just think that the new stuff, the new books, miss that.
Yeah. Where are we? The paint and inks range, all of it. You take or leave that, I suppose. Undercoating models, both by spraying them and by hand. Making a start, so just about base coating and all that sort of stuff. Mixing. Look at all these, like all mixing different. Mixing and watering down paints all on a palette and that sort of stuff. Stuff about mixing colours. He's doing this beautiful little pattern here to do all this different little one light.
Yeah, nobody does that.
Yeah, applying colour hints and techniques for how to do cloaks, how to do chainmail, how to do faces. This amazing little drawing.
Yeah.
About how to highlight a face.
Yeah.
Varnish. Some people like to apply a coat of varnish to their model once it's finished.
No,
no need, mate. No need. Didn't need it 20 years ago. Bases, goblin green bases, lovely stuff. But you could use flock and dip it into flock, or you could do sand texture and then paint the sand. Electrostatic grass or static grass. Although this might sound dangerous, it is nothing more deadly than a fibre-based alternative to sawdust flock.
You could fire 240 volts through your metal model.
You take it for granted now, but I remember static grass becoming the new thing. When I was doing models through the 90s, it was all flock.
Yeah.
Being derived from a synthetic material, the fibres naturally develop a static charge and tend to stand upright rather than grass. Blowing the grass will slightly lift it, enhance the effect. And then unfettered ambition. And a hilarious picture of a horse. Conversions. Chop up our models. Change them. Why not? You'll have fun. Goblin with a spear.
Yeah.
What a time to be alive. Look at all these. Lovely stuff. Using a pin vise. Notes on how to pin an arm.
I think they forget that. Well, I think they take for granted. I think they think, oh well, it's all over the internet. People coming into the game. But if you've got parents who buy a 10, 11, 12-year-old the starter box, they're not going to know what the Great British Hobbit League Facebook group is.
Poor fools.
Do you know what I mean? They're not going to know. So bring it back, GW. Bring it back.
Do an S Club. Lovely kind of pictures of conversions. Gorgeous artwork of the Uruks. Making flags, Stephen.
Yeah.
How to make a flag, how to convert a flag. Loads of free templates for you. And then just some pictures of large creatures.
Yeah. The best of pictures.
These are normally multi-part figures designed for more. Don't be put off. Following the instructions included. It's not a showcase. It's saying don't panic about painting monsters. And then you're into the bit that we can make the argument for. Do you see what I mean? So that is 133, 114. So it's about 20 pages of assembling and painting models.
Hobby. Yeah.
Then you're into the terrain stuff, and it does the usual old faithful books under thing. I think we've seen some of these pictures in Battle Games of Middle-earth, to be honest. Rocks on the table. How to build a castle.
Yeah.
Definitely got some polystyrene ceiling tiles going on there. You love to see it.
Yeah. Castle walls made out of water. Love it.
And then do that.
Yeah, just build it.
It's the next page.
Just build it. Stage 1, go to B&Q. Stage 2, build Helm's Deep.
It is it is literally right. Okay, see, this is the bottom of the previous page. Okay, so when you've done that, do that.
Just do that, mate.
And I'm sure it says this absolutely stunning model has been created by our own Dave Andrew. The scenic MPEG of such an awesome piece of terrain together with 2 opposing armies is breathtaking. And it's not suggesting you should be able to make that. I also want to say, if you look at this incredible picture, look at the Uruks, right? Yeah. I think they're all there. I think this speaks to a pre-War of the Ring era when this isn't Photoshop, this isn't a composite. This is what they were putting into this game and this range. Yeah. I think they've painted up 5 ballistas and 300 Uruks.
Well, you can imagine it because a lot of the staff would have been playing the game at that time, and they would have had armies.
You obviously can't say for sure, but it doesn't look Photoshop to me. It looks like we've got this stunning terrain piece that's painted enough models to support it. And when you compare that to, do you remember when we were looking through this? Yeah. Looking through this one, and we were saying that when you look at these massive army shots here, they're literally the box art models. Yeah. 2 Mirkwood Knights, 3 Ellsworth Glaive, 3 Ellsworth Bow. That's what's that. And you compare that to that in terms of what they were, the time and resource they're putting into it. Then got, I think it's only part of it. They show you how to. I think this is fine because it is aspirational, but it's like that's how you do it. Yeah. Like, I wouldn't even know how to store that much foam, let alone how to turn it into Helm's Deep.
But the great thing about that picture is, because I think when people see the finished product, they don't know what that's made out of. It's just a model of Helm's Deep. But then you show that and it's pink foam, you're like, oh, that's how they did it.
Yeah. There's more of this in a White Dwarf. They go into more detail, but there's 2 pages here. There's then, even though it's from Fellowship, there's a double page thing about the Perry's Brie. About making that. It doesn't have to be in there, but it's just nice. And then they actually get into what you'd consider the advert, which is a whole other section about the gaming hobby. It basically just talks to you about their website. Their website is so cool. Look at this. Look at this. What a time to be alive. It's the Games Workshop website. They talk about Games Day. They talk about White Dwarf, the range, upcoming stuff, how to use mail order, their phone numbers, UK, USA, Canada, Australia, Netherlands, Denmark, and Sweden.
Give us a ring.
That was the 7 that made the cut.
Give us a ring.
Look how red Games Workshop used to be. So red. And then summary profiles getting started, and really weird thing, the Lord of the Rings at a glance, which is basically like all the rules in 3 pages. It's kind of and a very exciting scene of Eowyn at Helm's Deep with a sword that we'll be really excited to see when we see the 2 towers in a couple of months. Yeah. And yeah, there's our book.
Good times, man. Good times.
It's kind of mega. It really is. Really interesting to go back through it, and it's a hell of a supplement. It's obviously aged now, and it's missing loads of stuff. We still don't have brutal power attacks. We don't have war bands. We don't have special strikes. We don't have many magical powers and all those sort of things. But it's, for what you can see it as a really transformative event in the game. That really introduced armies to the game and you start to see the idea of points match being like, you could get all your cheap plastic Uruk-hai and I could get all my cheap plastic Rise of Rohan, and we could have a real battle and collect. Yeah. And I think that's where the game started to, I don't know if it's find its feet, but go, okay, well, this is where we'll go with it. This is how you could have, we could create the idea of people collecting armies as opposed to just recreating scenarios.
Yeah.
It's pretty sweet.
It's very cool. It's very cool.
We'll catch up with the chat.
Yeah. What I'm going to do first, mate, because I just need to make sure this Facebook things work, because we'll have to dive into it in a minute. Nope.
Overall, I didn't enjoy this at all, and I'm going to give it a perfect 5 out of 7.
Very nice, very nice, very nice.
I am, however, going into my Freddo.
Right, what I'm going to do then, mate, is I'm going to... Don't do this to me. There you go, sorted. Oosh. Aye, aye. Right, that's that done. Well, I'll jump in the chat and then we'll dive into Facebook. Josh Cole says, glad I've managed to catch the stream. Just got back from football. A box of Glathrim Warriors were the first miniatures for any system I picked up in 2013. Still love the army.
Oh.
Larry says, did it also introduce throwing weapon memes? They did not stop selling the Fellowship. My local store did a deal where if you bought one of the old 3 starters a week or so before the big book drops, you got the new book for free. That's cool. I got the Fellowship one, and my friend got Return of the King. Harry Bates is in. He says, evening, fellas. What's on the agenda tonight? How you doing, Harry? It's Two Towers. Two Towers night tonight, my friend. Looking back at the original Two Towers release. Julian Hammond says, Balrog is in the Two Towers at the beginning.
That's a fair point. So's Gandalf the Grey, though.
Benji says, twice the troops, ? So 480 orcs instead of 240 for Last Alliance. 21 metal warg riders back then. Sean Williams says,
that's a good point, actually.
Good evening, gents, from Raleigh, North Carolina. Welcome, Sean. Good to have you. Larry says, why do penguins stay in pairs? Find out later. Benji says, isn't Damrod the one that says they found Gollum and that Osgiliath is under attack? Or is that someone else?
I think Madril says Osgiliath's under attack. He might be the one that says... Does anyone tell family they found Gollum?
I don't know. I'll just try to delete 69xxx.site. Unfortunately, I have to let you guys go. Larry says, this looks ludicrously hard for good. If you were a good player, you could win it with twice as many Uruks.
Exactly.
And Sean has a go at Larry's why do penguins stay in pairs? He says because they are glued together.
Oh, that's good.
That's a good one. And he also says, I think the change from their approach with publications is probably a result of the shift from small business mentality and now larger corporate style. I just think the more people that you have in a process, like in the in-between bit, from it being an idea to it, the person who makes it happen, I just think things sort of weaken. They get, what's the word? They watered down a little bit. Generation Shift Matt says, "Oh faithful, I love that thing." Frederick says 2002 SBG rules find hot painting and modelling guides here. I was too young, says Sean Clark, to go when they did Games Day, but looking at footage of old Games Day events makes me nostalgic for something I hardly experienced.
Yeah, it was so good. The old ones at the NIA.
We live in a different time now, don't we? I enjoyed those comments, Frederick, says Larry. Hope Steve doesn't block you. No, I won't. Basketball UK's in. He says, so much for an early one on a school night. Loving it, though. Hopefully the old days come back when Rings of Power does season 2. We've got to wait 2 years for that.
So,
got it. It's gone midnight now, but we won't be too much longer, mate. I've got to be up early. If you ask Damien would sit here till 3 o'clock in the morning because he's just that kind of guy. He doesn't need sleep. I'm saying that he's in his 40s now, so he might need sleep like me. Harry Bates says, isn't Damrod the one who says to Faramir it's coming home after England drew with the USA? And Larry's answer to his joke, which was why do penguins stay in pairs, is freeze a crowd. Freeze a crowd. Benji says, Osgiliath is under attack. They call for reinforcements. Is a dark-haired ranger. But who knows? Who knows, my friend? Who knows? That's it. Right. Let's do this, mate. Let's fire through it. So I need to click here. Fingers crossed this works.
It'd be great if it did.
Boom. Guess what? I'm a tech hero, mate. It works. So click that to get back to the first. We have got 56 comments this evening. Well done, folks. It's great to have you getting involved. Have you got it up, Damien?
It's a bit personal. Currently in the process of getting it up. But it's not going as quick as I'd like.
It takes longer in your voice.
It does. It seems to be taking longer than I remember.
It's when it gives up when you're halfway there.
It seems to have frozen. It's not doing anything. Is it Joe first?
Could be because it's cold. Yeah, it's Joe first.
I'm also going to go and see what we've got here. Joe Achille is in with
email.
Yeah, he's in. So I'll add him because I'm going to put a thing. He's painting some Rise of Rohan.
Nice.
And what I'm going to do is stick his one of his. He's put 2 pictures, but one of them you'll enjoy more than the other.
Tell me when you got it up, and I'll refresh my page.
Might take a while.
Let's rub your hands together.
It's not my hands that the problem.
It's funny because it's true.
Okay, it's up.
Great.
So if I now scroll back, hopefully I'll still find Joe Holzman at number 1, I believe. And so we can make a note and we can say the 2 towers.
Yeah.
Obviously, on the off chance we get 45, it won't count as a record breaking week this week.
No.
It's
Very cool.
a free for all.
So Joe says, Helm's Deep Aragon, some Christmassy crisps, and a slice of Colin the Caterpillar cake for me. What flavours?
What happens to the rest of the cake? I want to know.
Baked camembert and cranberry flavour crisps.
I could get on with that this time, yeah.
I could have a bit of that, definitely.
Jens
Elmo's cleaning some metal.
Classic, right?
Who? Yeah, oh yeah. Jens is cleaning some metal wires and an Urukai battering ram while having cake and beer.
If I'm not mistaken, that looks to me like the made-to-order kits that he's picked up.
Yeah, and that beer, Swiss chocolate stout.
I could do with the Swiss. I could do with the chocolate. I could do without the stout.
Hmm.
That also looks like the sort of food that they'd serve in Bilbo's house, the Prancing Pony. That looks like Hobbit prop food. I don't mean that it looks bad, but it looks like real good Hobbit prop food. You know,
hearty food.
Yeah. I like it. I can get on board with that.
Matt Hudson, have snacks and a shouty Urukai captain and friends. Let's have a look.
Yep, that shouty Urukai captain is...
Oh, I've clicked on Matt's profile instead. Sorry, Matt, if I give your address away as well.
Look at those snacks.
Yeah, that's a lot of snacks. Have you been sort of relegated to the kitchen, Matt?
Can't hobby on it. He's
I'm just gonna go and make some food, love.
Hobbying. Come on, work with me. Hobbying. It's a hob.
Yes.
Hobbying. Oh, it's good. What is that? Are those 2 cans out of the box behind them? Or is that what's that? Ting Rebel.
Ting Rebel.
Tiny Rebel. Tiny Rebel.
Why did we turn Jamaican? Ting Rebel.
What is this like a young person? What's CLWB Tropical? What is that?
I don't know. I thought I was going to say club, but it's got Yeasty Boys.
But that's so that
Gunnomatic,
that's the same stuff as
Earl Grey something, and then Passion Fruit 7 Brothers.
Where's Matt? Is he?
Yeah, he's UK. He come to my event the other day. That's a point, Matt. Actually, if you're still listening, get your friend to message me about you know what, please.
Lovely clean hob though.
Yeah, clean hob. And then we've got, it doesn't get used much, Matt, obviously. Based and washed, unsure if I can finish, currently drilling bases and just trying to survive. Very nice. Very nice.
Good luck.
Adam Harrison, freshly stripped down gambling for me, taking a break from Moria Goblins for the stream.
Classic BSIME. That's exactly what we want to see.
Yeah.
That gambling is in. He was in Defenders of Helm's Deep.
Frederick, classic Urukai captain for me. First Isengard Uruk in over 10 years. You got to love Frederick's snacks. They're always top drawer.
Box of chocolates.
They're always top drawer. They're always top drawer snacks.
Frederick shoots. That's great.
Rory Campbell.
He seems to change them every week as well. Like he doesn't have a favourite or anything.
I feel like Germany has a better selection.
Maybe. Oh, some classics.
Haldir and his pal.
Was it Rory that was saying these are the models from that box that he's had for 20 years?
Yeah.
He's put Haldir and his peer from circa 2002.
Yeah.
It genuinely warms my heart to see people doing that sort of.
It is. It's class. Whip looks class as well, mate. Dobley had to turn in early, but good to get some paint on some models that I haven't seen. I haven't seen the light of day for some time, so it's good to see.
What was a work in progress there?
Yeah, very nice, very nice.
That plastic Uruk Berserk is still great.
Yeah, it is. I used a load of them. I remember I went on like an eBay hunt many years ago to get as many of those as I could, and I turned them all into. I chopped them at the waist and made Corsair Reavers out of them.
There was a repellent thing doing the rounds in the Hobbit era. I can't remember the details of it. Larry probably remembers. People were after those models because someone was arguing you could do something with a brand.
I remember, yeah.
Was it Bash?
Something stupid.
I think they were for their all. It might have been that for all their berserkers, they were only using a plastic model because it would then come with a staff.
Yeah.
Which you could bash with. And I remember all the arguments going, it's going to be 50% ash. You can't bash anyone with that.
Bash with some ash.
It's bash with the ash. But that was the real, like, I remember that raging.
Scott Newman, no snacks tonight, but he's got two Aragorns.
Am I drunk? Or is that two?
It's two the same Aragorns. Great.
He goes down to one for the work in progress. Can you see that other Aragorn?
Well. It's very nice.
What? Why is he not talking about the second one? I wonder if the second one. Do you reckon the first one there is? I might be about to offend him here. Do you reckon that's like one he did years ago, and now he's bringing up the second one as a comparison?
Maybe because the work in progress shot isn't the one on the base. Maybe you're right there. Sean Clark. Let's see Sean's work.
He's got a new Gothy as well.
New Goth mod, yeah, it's beautiful, that model.
With the little magnet hole. You seen that?
Yeah, have you?
I'm more like impressed with the magnet hole. You're impressed with the nuts, right? Is that?
No. The magnet hole. We're talking about magnet hole. And blue armor is something I've not seen before. Sure.
Very cool.
It's done very well.
Watching the two towers. That's also a picture. That's a great. His still of the two towers there is a great shot of Theoden defending the gate of Helm's Deep. I think you were away when we did that scenario in the book, but the scenario description was Theoden defends the gate of Helm's Deep, and then he's not in the scenario. He's up on his castle watching, going, do it better, Aragorn, get out of there, as he blocks the gate. How, mate?
Ben Shaw cracked out the book to give it a read and do the final 3 riders from my little Rohan warband. Very cool.
I love it. Classic dragon.
Let's see his updated whip. Very neat paint job, mate. I like it a lot.
Oh, they are nice, yeah.
Yeah, very nice.
Like the middle horse. That.
Mr. Haskell is in. I was going to do one of the 3 hunters from the Pursuit across the Rohan box, but as I was running around, I found the Captured by Gondor Gollum, and I've not painted a Lord of the Rings era one, so that's my choice for this evening. Very nice. And then we've got an update.
You seen Dave Walker, my Iron Lurus to catch a rasp of gold. Caramel is sweet. Did some eyes. That's a great one. That's the only Gollum I've ever painted, that one.
Is it?
Yeah. Love that one.
Looking very nice, Michael. Hang on, I've got another reply there. What's that? Oh, he's done the eyes on him. Let's have a look at this one.
Thanks, Michael.
Yes. Makes all the difference, Michael. Makes all the difference.
Michael might have seen as I've been flurrying away tonight that I'm working on some things that he very kindly sent to me for Throne of Skulls. So thank you very much, Michael. They're underway.
Mr. Alex Johnson, the legend that is, he's working on a Balrog tonight.
So that's not in. That's not a Two Towers release.
Still cool.
Very cool to see you.
Very cool. Gordon Laidlaw, off theme tonight, but happy to be painting again. Getting my Easterlings a bit further on. Yeah, I've got so far with mine, and they've kind of just took a bit of a backseat.
Honestly, seeing that picture, this is no criticism of you, Gordon, but that just makes me feel I don't like painting gold. Yeah. And seeing those kind of, like the half painted models and how much gold you'd have to put on them just to base coat them, I just thought, I don't think I'd enjoy that.
So I base coat mine all gold.
What, spray them?
Yeah, to spray them gold and then go do everything on top. James Douglas working on 12 Rohan horses tonight.
And you, my friend, are in with a chance of winning that.
That little keyboard.
It's very cheeky.
Little Diddy keyboard.
You've got a little Diddy little remote control boat there as well. Is he all contrast? I think we're working with there. Is that right?
Is he? Oh, that's cool. Dave Walker says, can't remember when Sharku was released, but building base coats on foot. I'm out of Sharku. Collected a load of old metal wargs I'm working on and doing some weapon swaps, custom warg riders with 2 boxes of plastic wargs. I'm also building my rangers from the new starter box. You are a busy boy.
I believe, depends on if you got the metal wargs, they would get you in, but that mounted Sharku gets you in. The Sharku on foot does not. He was much later.
He's covered a few bases. Julian is working on his beautiful Rohan. So nice.
So Royal Guard get you in. That's fine.
Yeah, very cool. Tom Wayne, just a few Uruks. That's a lot of Uruks. That's more than I'm working on. I'm working on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
He's got some updates.
Yeah.
More importantly, here are my stream biscuits.
That's a lot.
I'm sure they were released in 2000. Salted caramel crunch creams.
Salted
Steve.
Caramel crunch creams. I've not had those.
Crunch creams are back.
Can you make them any better? That's the thing.
Salted caramel does make a lot of things better, right?
Except if it's a Whisper Gold, because then it just tastes like a Whisper Gold.
Yeah, we proved it with science.
Stephen Ryan, part of last year's SBG Secret Santa. Thank you, Mystery Santa. It's a battering ram.
Oh, amazing.
Updates as well. Oh,
Secret Santa contributing. And is that I'm seeing a small thumbnail. Is that a 2 Towers era packet that's been popped? It
certainly is.
I breathed air from 2002. It's not like a strong economy in that kind of water.
Smashing it.
It's the past. The past was in that blister, man. And you let it out. I go, God, it's let me back in. It's better back here.
I've had this blister unopened for 20 years. 2 idiots have told me to open it, so I'm going to open it. Jake Pollard, 7 Uruks to get highlighted, and if possible, Saruman.
Look at my friend. Look, do you reckon they're mince pies in the background?
They're mince pies all day. They're mince pies all day long.
Yeah. Bang them off.
I'm not into mince pies, you know.
I know you're not, babe. But look at his work in progress. Is that 2 missing? He's done 2, isn't he? He's done 2 in the next picture.
Highlights done and first cloak layer of Saruman. You'd have done more if you stopped eating pies, mate.
It's Saruman also. I mean, look. I mean, he looks like he's got a bad miscast on that mounted Saruman. And he's missing arms. He's missing stuff. It's dreadful.
Bits missing.
Mr.
Sam Page is in.
Sam Page is in.
He's in.
There's a lot of big names entering without chatting in the chat tonight. What's up, guys? Say hello.
Say hi. Say hi.
Oh, hi
he's in anyway. He's in.
Oh, look at that classic Warrior of Rohan.
Old school. Callum Rutter is in. Some Royal Guard. Great models. Pig to paint.
Rushing for Throne Skulls. Callum, can't wait to see you, man.
Josh Crosby finishing Hamer, getting some more paint on some Rangers from a previous stream and starting a Wildman, and there are stickers of crazy people in this photo.
Oh, there we are.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Mental scenes.
So those Rangers, I believe, are okay. Oh, and the Wildman, yeah. Yeah, Josh.
Yeah. He knows the dance.
You know about the dance.
And then we've got Nathan Died. Let's have a look. Yeah. Loads of plastic Uruks.
This feels like a strong turnout tonight.
Ashley Fisher, Uruks assembled.
Don't think I'll get around to painting. That's fine. You're working on them.
Yeah, you're working on them. That's all that counts.
The fact that you've worked on them tonight might mean that they get painted. That's all that matters.
Old school Chris. He's got his Hammer picture, and then he's put, "Oops, Hammer doesn't count. I'll get in with this fella instead." And he's got a metal Warg Rider.
They are lovely, aren't they?
They're great models. Great models.
He gets in with him. Do you know? I found this flicking through the White Dwarfs. Obviously, we get the Warg Attack back later in the year. About 4 months after that, they just released 6 metal Warg Riders in a box together, so that you could supplement your Warg Riders.
Didn't know. There you go. Malcolm Morris finishing up some Uruk-hai demo team and working on Theoden, Gimli, and an Elf banner from Heroes of Helm's Deep for me tonight.
That's chock full. You should get multiple entries for that.
Yeah, 6 entries. 6 entries for Morgan. We've got some updates. Looking good, my man. Nice work.
Oh yeah, very good.
Cool.
There's gold on the off
there. Tom Spate, some practice for when I get the plastic version, unless turns out well. Oh, for AMA.
I'd be really infuriated if you have practice. Turns out
man.
better than the final thing. That AMR gets you in.
Horse is really nice.
That dappling effect is always hard to do, isn't it?
Yeah.
Looking good though, dude. Looking
cool,
good.
Callum Morsman, testing out an alternate colour scheme for Halday's Elves. Looks like he's going silvers. Oh, we've got an update here. Yeah, it looks cool, mate. Stick with it.
That's really nice, really neat.
Yeah, with
we got Callum in already? I feel like...
Cold greys looks nice. Chris Webster, no 2 Towers minis for me tonight. Need to finish these bases on this lot ready for the Throne of Skulls. Oh, someone's bringing a Hobbit army.
Very cool.
With Gondor and Aragorn.
Oh, very filth. There's obviously that 4th age kind of stuff with the king coming back to help the Hobbits. That's pretty
looks
mega.
very, very cool though, mate. Them bright colours look awesome.
Can you imagine a Hobbit horde with Aragorn? God almighty. Things I don't want to play. That looks beautiful there, man.
It does look very cool.
Love all the different colours, like the blue Hobbit. I don't know what I was going for with mine before I stopped doing them, but you've got like, I think I was calling them like the red farthing and the blue farthing and stuff. Really like those.
Ashley, on his Halday's Elves, a little sneak peek of the next supplement.
So Chris isn't in, but Ashley is.
Yeah, Ashley is. Larry's in. He's still he is painting penguins. He found the arm then.
Do you think that's his? Is that his drink, his paint water, or his wee? You just don't know, do you?
Mobile toilet.
Why can't it be all? Why not both? Why not all three?
Sam Earnshaw is in with the Rider of Rohan. Shield looks cool, man.
Sorry, can I just check? Larry's getting in because they're elves, right? Is that?
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
Yeah. Sam's Rohan shield looks awesome.
Oh man, that's beautiful. Is he? Do we have Sam in yet?
Not yet. No. Luca is in. Riders of Rohan. I'm gonna attempt to say your surname, Luca. So apologies if I butcher it. Giacapazzi. Luca Giacapazzi.
Very cool.
Todd Egbert fighting Uruk-hai with the 2002 holiday catalogue. Look at that.
Oh, I'm excited by this. What manner of holiday catalogue is this?
With the massive ring.
Just the Lord of the Rings holiday catalogue. Oh, what treats are in there?
So he's in.
This is a good one tonight, you know, mate. There's a lot in it.
Yeah. Carl's in.
I love that. Pulled out a solitary. That's so BSIME. I love it.
Yeah. I've got some.
It's like Sam with his one word of Rohan. Brilliant.
Display board progress and converting into a skilly vets.
Oh, that's good. I like the conversion.
Yeah, that's good.
That's a really good idea.
That's good.
What have you done?
What?
It just looks like something terrible. I'm sure there's lots to be done. Oh no, I didn't make it in time. Now my display board's ruined.
Which either just do Carl. Julian Hammond, stage 1, red cloak, trim base colour done.
Mate, if you want to make the most out of that daylight bulb, you're going to need to put that into a fitting. That won't work like that. If you're worried why it's not having the effect you want it to.
Yeah, these daylight bulbs are crap. I'm holding them in my models.
It doesn't do anything.
Then we've got an update.
It doesn't give off light, let alone daylight.
I really like Julian's Rohan army. It's very cool. Remember when we first seen Julian start to paint his Rohan army? We were like, look at this psychopath painting.
Painting in bits.
Painting in bits. Remco Keekstra.
He can get in with that gambling.
Yeah, and the Royal Guard.
Yeah.
Update from Larry.
What's been murdered? What's been drunk? What's been
now? There's milk in the cup. I hope you watched it.
Is there?
Oh, look at that.
So yeah, this I put a chicken in.
Turkey, that mate. It's turkey.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course, it is Thanksgiving. Hi guys, please see below my entry for this week's stream. Taking a short break from some storage leading to work on these 2 rides of Rohan. So Joe Achille is in. His picture, which I didn't put in there, is he's got some Star Wars Legion guys. It looks like maybe Count Dooku, Anakin, and Obi-Wan, I think. And he's got 2 riders of Rohan, classic BSIME. While he's watching the stream on the big screen. Joe Achille goes in, and as I said, Steve, more importantly, bonus pick is from Thanksgiving here a couple of days ago. £20 turkey on the smoker, only 4 hours or so, and it was awesome. Tell Steve he must try it. I'll send a recipe link from after this email. It does indeed send a smoked turkey YouTube video recipe.
Yeah, I'll be having a look at that. I'll be having a look at that, no doubt. And then we've got another update from Larry. The milk's gone. It's gone. And then Frederick Schultz, done. 1 minute you didn't have a Rohan captain painted. Now you got one. That's how it looks class, mate, as well. Looks really
Frederick's already in, right?
Yeah, he's already in. And that's it, mate.
That is not it, because I've just in checking Joe's email just then, I've just seen that we have had an email from Eric.
All right.
So if you just bear with.
I'll bear with. But I'm not. My eyes are going. And that's even with the glasses on.
If you refresh now, it should be there. So we have Eric messaging in and saying we'll have to catch most on demand, but was able to do some work on some Uruks and a Radagast. I think they qualify for this stream, and the metal berserkers certainly do. Is that like a Blood Bowl goblin at the back of that?
Blood Bowl at the back, yeah.
Looks like he's got a bunch of dwarfs running away from his
sacrilege.
So Eric does indeed squeak in. So remember when Eric and Joe squeaked in to tip Eowyn over the line? It's a good one today, guys. Lots of love for the 2 towers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Oh, excuse me. Oh. Little yawn. Alright, seat's gone back. Oh.
Wow. So it's 35, which is amazing. 35 is a lot, but that felt like we had low to the point where I thought, oh, if this wasn't special, I might be troubling with it, which just goes to show how many you have to get to trouble AO in these days. But 35, that's pretty awesome. 35 people painting
well done, folks.
20-year-old
Well
models
done.
for 2 hours. Well done. So I think that's a fairly obvious. We'll do 36. We'll do D12s. Let me just rearrange these into 12s. That should leave us with 11 at the end. Lovely.
Lovely, mate.
So yeah, we'll do our 3 groups. We'll do a 12, 12, and 11. Where's my dice? Need to find me some good D12, courtesy of Michael Curtis. Courtesy.
Solid, I like it.
That looks D12. D12, we have the D12. Quite pleased with what I've got done tonight, actually.
Yeah.
I can't show you, obviously. But...
2, 4, 6, 8 Uruk warriors. Metals all done. Washes all done. I'm pretty happy with that.
My objectives have, like, at the start of the stream, I had 8 stages to go. And on this stream, I've done 3.5 stages on all of them.
There you go, smashed up.
So I've nearly done half of what I need to do on my objectives tonight, which I'm really, really pleased with. So cheers, everyone. Right, let's switch over to Tension Cam. Tension Cam's gone away. What's happened?
Sorry, it's very off topic. I was just closing down the Facebook thing, and a post has come up that a friend of mine has posted. Someone else they've posted on Twitter, and it says, "Oh, look at me! I'm Spain. I can create 2 of the best midfielders of all time, and just have them respawn after they retire. Pathetic. Grow up."
There we go. Tension Cam's back. Right, is that all right?
There you go. Yep.
Cool.
It's looking clear tonight, mate. It's looking clear.
And crisp. So you can see the dice there with its glorious 6. That's what you're playing for tonight.
Yeah.
So we're going to have 12, 12, 11. So our first finalist will come from Joe Holzman, Jens Elmos, Matt Hudson, Adam Harrison, Frederick Schultz, Rory Campbell, Michael Dublé, Scott Newman, Sean Clark, Ben Shaw, Michael Haskell, and James Douglas. Are we ready, Steve?
Yeah.
Over to you, sir.
Go for it.
It's a 12! James Douglas sneaking in by the skin of his teeth. James, who I think, if I'm not mistaken, is the person who chased about his dice.
Well, there you go.
And he chased about a mug, I think. No, he did. He did chase about a dice. Maybe he chased about a dice. But I owe him a dice. So that's great. I know who I'm voting for. Because I already owe that man a dice. One package. Right. Our next 12, Dave Walker, Julian Hammond, Tom Wayne, Stephen Ryan, Jake Pollard, Sam Page, Callum Rutter, Joshua Crosby, Nathan Dyed, Ashley Fisher, Christopher Cooper, and Morgan Morris. It's all 12 again.
Okay. Let's do it.
It's a 1 flying through different ends of the spectrum here. So that's Dave Walker, who is next to James Douglas in the list. Crazy times. And finally, greater chances of winning here. It's only 11, and Larry Miller, famously undiced Larry Miller, is in this group. I just feel like we're cheering for Larry every week now. Tom Spate, Callum Morsman, Ashley Fisher, Larry Miller on a 4, Sam Earnshaw, Luca Giacopazzi, Todd Egbert, Carl Daly, Remco Keistra, Joe Achille, and Eric L. Oh, two Americans, I think, sneaking in at the bottom there with their tricksy overseas postage. So we're re-rolling a 12 here.
Okay.
Everyone's hoping for a 4. Except the other 10 people in this category.
Let's do it.
It's a 2. Sorry, Larry. It's Callum Morsman.
Well done, Callum.
There we go. So we have our 3 finalists. We have James Douglas, Dave Walker, and Callum Morsman. I believe, I want to say Callum's won a dice. And we know that James is, yeah, Callum's definitely one dice. I think he might have a couple.
Greedy.
But Dave's definitely one. So I believe Dave Walker might be our only non-diced here. So, are we ready for the big one? First to 3 as always. James Douglas on 1, Dave Walker is on 2, and Callum Morsman is on 3.
Okay.
Who's your money on, Steve?
Callum.
I'm going to go for James to help me out.
Okay.
Callum.
Called it.
The cracking start from Callum. He didn't call that. He called that he'd win. You didn't call
it. He
it.
just needs 2 over 3s.
You didn't call
done,
it. He'd get the first mark and then not get another one, while the other stormed to 2 all each, and then one of them won it. It's Callum done for the night, mate. It's Callum done for the night.
Nah, mate. Smashed it.
Come on, James. Come on, reduced postage.
Go on.
James. Feel bad for Dave now. Someone should cheer for Dave. He hasn't even got.
Come on, Dave.
Thanks, Dave. Oh, Callum's back in, and he destroyed the
he's throwing things around
in his throws. So Callum has moved. He's bucked what I said, and he's moved to match point. Mr. Morrisman. Can Dave do anything in the face of this assault from Callum, do you think? Maybe it's the pressure. Maybe it's Dave's first final and he hasn't played in these conditions before.
It's got to him. Okay, go on.
Take that, says Dave from afar. Got to me, got to you, he says. That is 1 to James, 1 to Dave, and 2 to Callum.
Oh.
Callum will be getting. I think Callum will be the most nervous at this point because he's got it all to lose.
Yeah. What was it, Michael, when you say about it's worse being 2 goals up than 1 goal up?
Yeah, nonsense. It's on here, wasn't it? Where we said like garbage about when it's harder playing against 10 men sometimes. No, it isn't. It's easier. It's demonstrably easier. It's like tennis. It's harder sometimes when your opponent's injured. No, it's not. It's easier. It's garbage. Right. Can Callum take it this time? Or can James and Dave do something to mess things up?
Come on.
Oh, Dave! He has responded. He's listened. And James with his reduced postage is now sitting there going, "What am I doing at this point?"
This is not how you play the game.
So here we go. Here's the third one. Oh, James wins. Let's roll again. Oh, James wins. Great news. All right. So we're on 1 for James, 2 for Dave, and 2 for Callum.
Yeah.
Come on, James. Even it up, mate.
Imagine if it went to...
Oh, it's Dave Walker with 3 in a row.
He's gone from tripping up on the start line to absolutely smashing it.
That is 3 in a row for Dave Walker.
Well done,
unbelievable
mate.
Scene.
Well done.
Wonderful. Let's go over to our records. It's episode 73, Steve. Can you believe it?
That's crazy.
You know what that means about next one, don't you?
74.
Dave Walker. Dave, if you are on you and we don't have your address, you'll probably be celebrating if you're still out there. But let me know. Excuse me, in the chat that you're out there and Facebook me.
Hold on. I'm going to dive back in the chat. Oh, just give me eyes a little rub. I can just about make it out from here, even with my glasses on. Sean Clark says, I can see what Damien is painting there. Frederick Schultz says, Damrod might be the one who says, no, it's cool in Osciliath.
No, it's cool. I think he is, actually. I think you're right.
Yeah.
Is him, the one who, as it flies over him. Yeah, I think that is him.
Carl says, I've done some work on the display board and now I'm chopping up ranges of Gondor to turn into Osciliath vets for next year's hopeful Scouring Army. Good man. Larry Miller says, sounds like Damien needs some hot girls and boys. Frederick says, finished my Uruk Captain. We've seen it, mate. It looks awesome. Probably the first time I ever started and finished a mini over the course of a stream. First time I've got Uruk in over 10 years. Well done, Frederick. Is a good feeling, says Sean. And Eric L says, submission in the email. Yeah, we got it.
Yeah, we got it, dude. We got you.
Matt Hudson says, I'm always relegated to the kitchen. I don't have prime real estate like Damien's shed. And then he says, I don't know what... was that to what I said about... Do you remember I said, does anyone in the chat skilled at this? And you said, oh, my friend is.
Me?
No, not you. I'm talking to Matt. You keep your nose out.
Yeah, why would I possibly think you were talking to me on the stream? It's far more likely that you're chatting to you than to someone who can't respond to you, isn't it?
Larry says, gonna have to retire as soon as I got to get up early. Aren't we all, mate? Might not make it to the draw. Also, Sam Page is hardly a big name. It's only 7 letters.
Whee.
Frederick says, pretty sure the metal cav boxes were always 5 models, Damien. Wild Riders had the 2 bows and the spear pose 3 times.
Oh, what did I say? 6? Yeah, you could well be right on that.
Yeah.
It was
really weird that they did 2 bows, Shaku, and 1 throwing spear. 4 poses, 2 shooting, 2 shooting, 2 combat, but 1 was a hero. Doesn't work with the bow limit. Yeah.
Oh, bear in mind, at that, the most we have with the bow limit is
50-50.
no more than 50% of your models can be armed with bows. So
yeah,
it might be slightly different.
Larry says, no, that's Halday's arm. He says, it's tropical juice. I rinsed it. Frederick says, lol, Steve, that is an Uruk captain, not a Rohan captain. Okay.
Don't know what that's about. He obviously, at some point, called his
maybe
Rohan
just a slip. I'm very tired. Really like the Uruk captain, maybe even more now that I actually own the model and that I've painted it. Perfect
Lovely
generic
model.
captain stroke battle company's character mini. Fits in perfectly with the troops. Very little difference, but instantly recognisable as a hero stroke leader. Very true. Don't mind Rocky McFurcloak, first Uruk captain I ever bought, but the simplicity of the original pose is really nice.
Yeah, I prefer that. I prefer that original one to the one on the rock.
Yeah. Dave Walker says, well, hey, haha. On the edge of my seat, says Callum. Come on, Callum, says Tom W. Congrats, Dave, says Callum. Martin Slate's retracted a message, which was obviously Phil.
Slagging off, Dave.
Yeah, Frederick.
I want a Callum. What are you doing?
Congrats, Dave. Unbelievable, Dave, says
Stop
Martin.
the Callum.
Dave says, oh my god, lol, nice one. Tune in regular, but don't think I posted a hobby pic before. Buzzing. Cheers, guys. You are most welcome.
See what it means. See what it means to people.
Tom W says, well done, Dave. Good night, everyone. Thanks, gents. Matt Hudson says, I do know. Yes, you do know. Generally think that I might be the first ever thing I've won in my life, says Dave. Oh, that is pretty
I love
awesome.
that he's buzzing. That's awesome.
Frederick says, the new Damrod Mini might be the best Mini, not profile, in the new box. Cool pose and actually looks
I agree
like
with that.
him. Yeah.
I agree with that a lot. I think Damrod's awesome.
Unlike the old one, they also painted him brown, not like in the old scheme. Joe Kelly says, really excited for the second half of tonight's stream. It's only 7:45 here. And Frederick says, they used to paint the Rangers mostly green, but quite a few of them are very brown in the film. They actually changed that with the pictures of the Rangers in the new box.
Isn't Damrod actually the guy who's in the wrong outfit as well, or something? I think he's wearing clothes that he never wears in the film, in the metal one. So I think says, Damrod is the first correct depiction of Damrod we've had.
All right, I don't know. Jakey says, cheers for the great stream. As per, night all. Night, mate.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, I think we're going to wrap it up, I think. So
well, I've just finished that colour, so I'm now on 4 layers out of my 8 layers. Done.
Smashed it. Like I said before, I made real good progress with 8 Urukai warriors in armour, so I'm very happy. That's been a hobby I've done for a long time. It's very nice, very therapeutic. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Right? So we confirmed the Christmas stream is going to be the 21st.
Yeah,
which is a Wednesday.
21st, right?
We're going to see how our schedules are and try and squeeze another one in to celebrate the new box set prior to that. But if not, it will be in January. But we'll keep you posted on that. Just keep an eye on the GBHL and the Battle Streams of Middle-earth page. If you've not liked the Battle Streams of Middle-earth page, go and give it a like. It does help us. If you're watching and you haven't subscribed,
please subscribe.
We hope that you feel dirty and you're like one of those people who like pirate things over the tinterwebs. Click the subscribe.
Pirate VHSs.
Click the subscribe button. Give us a subscribe.
Tell your friends, get them to subscribe.
Tell your friends, and yeah, we'll try and do more things for you guys in the future. I think we'll probably do something. Oh, that's the thing I wanted to bring up, and I totally forgot about it. What did we say for the terrain comp?
It'll be in the issue. Sorry, the stream focusing on the next numbered issue.
Yeah. So it'll either be the first stream in January or the second one, depending.
Yeah, almost certainly. Yeah. We obviously don't know what's going to come. If they drop a supplement or something, it might change. But it's the next numbered issue will be the closure. So over Christmas, we've got another. Got another stream before Christmas. Over Christmas, keep working on any pieces of terrain.
Yeah.
From Battle Games Middle Earth.
Yeah, has to be from one of the guides in the magazine.
Yeah, and then you'll win a big box of stuff.
Yeah. And also, if we don't have another stream prior to the Christmas stream, and I don't get a chance to say it, let's get on theme for Christmas. I'll be wearing my Christmas jumper. I'll be having Christmas snacks, and there might even be a Christmas cracker.
We should talk. I don't think we've ever done crackers. We should do crackers. Yeah. We could both hire someone to stand off camera and make it, like we did the chocolate handoff. Make it look like we're doing it or something, or set up an elaborate clamping system.
Yeah, clamp. Could you imagine if I said to Anna,
you just pop in for
you just come into the garage. You just come into the garage, climb over all the boxes that I've got our kitchen cupboards in, and just hold on to that.
At some point between 8 PM and 1 AM, you will be needed for a few seconds. Also, we should talk theme. Yes. I presume we haven't talked about this, but I presume it'll be our usual. It's like the Halloween one, Christmas themed, right?
Yeah.
So it'll be a free for all. If you can convince us it's Christmassy, it's Christmassy. But this generally means what is it? What is involved here? Merries version Merries.
Merries, elves,
snowy
bases, things with Christmas hats on or baubles on them.
Barlin probably.
Yeah, because he looks like a little Santa. We'll leave it up to your imagination. The more imaginative, the better.
Try and paint something fun and Christmassy.
Yeah,
you could do maybe. I think I know what I'm going to do actually. I'm going to do something special for the girls this year. I'm going to make something for a tree, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to get those glass baubles.
Yeah.
You put a picture in.
Yeah.
I'm going to get one of those.
Yeah.
And I'm going to get a little hill, and I'm going to cover it in snow. And then I'm going to have, Sam and Frodo.
Are you taking the mic?
No, I mean it. Sam and Frodo from Breaking of the Fellowship. I'm going to get them. I'm going to get them running, like chasing each other. What?
What a wanker. Do you know what I've not seen anyone do yet?
I've got you good.
I haven't seen anyone do yet.
What?
Make the Grinch out of an orc or something.
I genuinely do know what I'm going to do actually, because I'm going to do an SBG Christmas classic that I've never done. I'm going to do a Christmas Bombadil.
Very nice.
I'm going to one-shot a Santa Bombadil, because that is not only going to be cool and BSIME, because I've actually got 2 Bombadils in my backlog, so can waste one on a Christmas one.
Yeah.
He's going to be my spirit model for bingo.
Nice. Very cool.
So that's what I'm doing. He's already primed and undercoated, and I'm going to just try and one-shot him in a fun Crimbo themed night. And I presume we'll obviously be talking about Christmas plans and that sort of stuff, but I presume we'll also then be talking about maybe the Two Towers film. We'll continue the celebrations of 20 years of Two Towers, because it would have been literally then, if we're talking about the 19th, it would have been about 20 years ago that we all saw it for the first time. We can talk about, bring your memories of the first time you saw the movie and your first enjoyment of it and where it now sits. But for tonight, I really hope you enjoyed that look back on that era of the game. It's a lot of fun for me going through those White Dwarfs and kind of seeing what it really used to be like. I'm looking forward to doing that again next year for Return of the King, and digging through that book. And of course, this time next year, we'll be going through this, dear lady. It looks
very
mega cool. I mean, look,
very cool.
Look at that.
Look at that.
Oh, can I say one thing this side of Christmas? Because I haven't seen this. Now, forgive me if this has been discussed in detail elsewhere, but check this out. we had, there was that picture that was a tiny, tiny clip of some balustrades.
Yeah.
Why is no one talking about this?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Huh?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's a roof.
Yeah.
Look at that.
It's very cool.
I think there's some exciting stuff coming.
Merry Christmas!
Yeah, thank you all very much. Thank you, Steve. Always a pleasure, my friend.
Yeah, it is. I'm gonna have to rush off, so I'm gonna have to close it up because I need a wee again, and I need to go to bed. So everybody, thank you very much. Hopefully, we'll see you before the 21st, but we'll keep you posted on that. Failing that, it will be the 21st, and we'll get a date booked in for January. So yeah, have fun, take care, be safe, and all that.
Be safe and be SBG.
Be safe and be SBG. That has got to go on a mug.
Episode 73. God damn it! Why did it take us so long?
That's got to go on a mug. Right, I am gonna have to shoot because I'm busted.
Nighty night.
Take care, people. Love you all.
Love you
Long
so
time.
much.
Bye bye.